Perry Groves. Tom de Eckert said in his press conference he identified a few areas which his side could use to get at Arsenal. What do you think those areas are that he was talking about?
I think he knows that Arsenal like to play whoever's left back comes inverted, whether it's Calafiori there or Capier. Today it's Lewis Skelly. Lewis Skelly loves going in that midfield area, so he'll think that on the right hand side for Southampton fellows might have a little bit of space, because then Gabriel comes out, might be able to go against him 1v1. He'll probably think that they can go long into Ross Stewart up front, because obviously we said about him being physical, so you think that he might just go on to Mosquera and see if he can bully him. So there's loads of little pockets that maybe he thinks on the pitch with a little bit of space. We expect Odegaard to play a little bit deeper, so Norgard will probably be as a holding midfield player on his own, so there might be a little bit of space around there, but he'll want his team to be on the front foot and not give Arsenal any time to settle.
The light show has started here at St Mary's. The stadium plunged into darkness, lights flashing above us with memories of the 1976 FA Cup win on the big screens. Fire bursting into the sky ahead of us, and this is a home side ready for a proper cup tie, a proper battle against the league leaders in the Premier League. And Perry, Arsenal were blunt in attack in that League Cup final. You've got Odegaard back in the side tonight, but it looks as if he might be playing slightly deeper. How do they need to look more fluid tonight? What do you want to see more of from Arsenal?
Well, I just think they need to release the hounds. I think Arteta has to let the front four sort of be more fluid and interchange. It looks like Havertz will play in the 10. Martin Odegaard will be the one who's trying to get himself on the board, like be the conductor. But especially when you get in the wide areas, obviously Max Down we know likes like 1v1. With Martinelli, when he plays on the left-hand side, he tends to cut in a little bit too much and go on his right foot. So when he's up against Bree, you want him going on the outside of Bree, but you just want him just to be a little bit more fluid in that final third.
We've mentioned this great form that Southampton are in. You can feel that confidence from the fans too, can't you? And it makes this tie very difficult, doesn't it, for Arsenal? It's as much as Southampton are a championship side, when you're heading into a game like this, even if you are the league leaders, when you've been battling in so many different competitions, it's this kind of tricky tie that can be so dangerous, Crookie.
Yeah, especially when you coming into it on the back of such a disappointing defeat. They probably wouldn't have wanted the international break, and I imagine they'd have wanted another Premier League game to get back on track. But you're right about the atmosphere in here. It's not always been the case in the last few seasons. In fact, the fans have been very quick to turn when the team aren't playing well, but they feel invested. They're behind the manager. I think the first goal is absolutely crucial tonight. If Arsenal gets it, you would expect them to control possession and win relatively handsomely. If Southampton gets it, well, it's game on, isn't it?
There's a haze of smoke across the pitch. You can smell it too. You can smell the atmosphere in here. There's a huge tifo away to our right-hand side. It says Spirit of 76. It's yellow and blue. It has those cup heroes from 50 years ago for Southampton. And what a campaign they are having so far this season too. Players in the tunnel here ahead of a huge quarter-final. Perry Groves, you played for both clubs. I'm going to ask you now, what predictions have you got as the fireworks are burst into the sky?
Well, I'm hoping there's going to be fireworks when the teams kick off. So I think it'll be an explosive game. I think that both teams, obviously, Southampton are high in confidence. Arsenal have got something to prove. I can see Arsenal winning, but I can't see it being comfortable, because of the confidence Southampton have. So I'd go for a real exciting, nail-biting 2-1 to Arsenal.
Well, Perry, thank you very much indeed. Plenty of live football coming your way on the Talksport network tomorrow. West Ham take on Leeds in an all-Premier League quarter-final. One of those sides will book a place at Wembley for the semis. Then we have a feast of football on Easter Monday. Portsmouth against Oxford from 12:30, live and exclusive on Talksport, before Adrian Durham takes you around the grounds with all of the goals as they go in from the EFL. And then don't forget, Tuesday night, the Champions League returns. Arsenal's first leg away at Sporting Lisbon is live from 8 o'clock on Talksport. First though, they've got a job to do here at a raucous St Mary's. Southampton celebrating 50 years since they won the FA Cup this year. Bobby Stokes the hero back in 76. but some run for them so far in this campaign. Can they rise to the challenge of Mikel Arteta's Arsenal and book a trip to Wembley? Or will the treble charge continue for the Gunners? Time to join your commentary team for tonight's game. The former Arsenal winger Perry Groves, alongside your match commentator, Alex Cook.
Thank you, Ollie. Very good evening, everybody. The quadruple dream is over, but Arsenal's hopes of a historic treble remain very much alive. It will have been a fortnight of soul-searching for Mikel Arteta after Carabao Cup final heartache at the hands of Manchester City. So what better way to bounce back than by booking an immediate return to Wembley in a competition the Gunners have won a record 14 times. For Southampton, the priority very much is getting back into the Premier League. But half a century on from the most famous moment in their history, and wearing the same yellow and blue colours of their 1976 cup-winning heroes, Tom de Eckert's men, very much in form, are eyeing what would be, Perry, a huge upset.
Yeah, it would be. Thing is, Crookie, when you can play teams at the wrong time sometimes, and obviously Arsenal playing Southampton at the wrong time, obviously on that back of the defeat against Man City, and Southampton absolutely flying in the Championship. And Southampton had all the good news of the teams around them not winning yesterday as well, you know, so they're Southampton fans, as you can hear in full voice. So I'd just like to report as well, Crookie, that neither team is respecting the ball.
No huddles in the centre circle. Arsenal are doing theirs. A sensible distance just on the edge of the penalty area, away to our left. They are going to be turned around here, though. Southampton presumably have won the toss. They're going to be attacking the northern end in this first half, still wearing their tracksuit tops. The home players just applauding the supporters behind the goal, away to our left, before gathering in their own huddle inside the penalty area. The last time these two met in the FA Cup was 2021. Southampton dumped out the then holders. Jack Stevens started that game, but the home captain unavailable due to an ankle injury. Gabriel Martinelli and Gabriel, who scored an own goal to decide that tie, are the sole Arsenal survivors, as they make no fewer than 7 changes from that League Cup final defeat against City. The two teams in full, Southampton with Peretz in goal, Bree, Harwood-Bellis, Wood and Manning in the back four, Bragg, Yanda and Azaz in midfield, with Fellows and Cienza either side of Ross Stewart in attack. For Arsenal, Kepa, despite his Wembley mistake, keeps the place in goal. It's White, Gabriel, Mosquera and Lewis Skelly in a much changed back line. Odegaard returns from injury to partner Norgard in midfield. Havertz in the 10, Martinelli and Dowman are alongside Gabriel Jesus in attack. It will be Arsenal in their red shirts with the white sleeves, white shorts and red socks, shooting from right to left to get us underway. And Southampton, as I've mentioned, in that commemorative yellow and blue strip, attacking the goal away to our right. And the atmosphere, Perry, is off the scale.
Yep, it's absolutely electric. So, what did it hold? 30,000 at St Mary's Stadium? You got 32. You've probably got 4,000 Arsenal fans over on the far side. Crookie. Arsenal have just kicked off, went back to Kepa. Southampton thought Kepa was going to go long, but he didn't. Just rolled it into Mosquera, and Arsenal just in possession at the moment.
Well, Martin Odegaard, as expected, is playing in that deeper lying midfield role. We haven't seen him in an Arsenal shirt since hobbling out of the North London derby back in February, but he's just given the ball away, and here comes Southampton. Fellows down the right-hand side, running at Gabriel into the penalty area. Gabriel slides in, knocks the ball out of touch, and then screams in the face of Tom Fellows.
It was a brilliant tackle from Gabriel. 1v1, Tom Fellows just trying to go on the outside of him. Gabriel made sure, just stood on his feet, and he slid in, timed it to perfection. But that all started quickly because the ball went into Jesus up front. He gave the ball away because Wood was right on him, trying to get in front of him, gave the ball away. Then Stewart, they put it out to Fellows on this right-hand side, but really good defending from Gabriel.
Southampton in possession over on their left-hand side, but one back by Ben White, who is being booed by the Southampton supporters. He got used to that on international duty. Scored and gave away a penalty for England against Uruguay a week ago. And the ball now at the feet of Kepa Arrizabalaga, 3 times an FA Cup runner-up with Chelsea. It was his glaring error, really, that changed the momentum in Manchester City's favour at Wembley a fortnight ago in that League Cup final. Arsenal looking to bounce straight back here on the blustery south coast, and Ødegaard in midfield rolls the ball out to his right, and Mosquera goes down the line to White infield to Ødegaard, 10 yards outside the penalty area. The Arsenal captain gives it back to Ben White, maybe with the opportunity to get across in here, and he's stopped in his tracks on that far left hand side by the glove wearing Cienza. Here's Norgard now, little chip into the area. Havertz lost sight of the ball, and Southampton able to smuggle it clear and maybe come forward on the counter with Cienza. 3 against 4. Cienza into the penalty area. Oh, and he's been chopped down, has he? Well, again, Gabriel screaming in the face of the Southampton man. I'm not entirely sure how much of the ball Gabriel got. VAR will be checking it. But Perry, you can see the Southampton tactic. As soon as they win the ball back, they're looking to hit quickly. What was your view on that challenge on Cienza?
Well, the referee Sam Barrett was only about 10 yards away. Cienza did brilliantly on that left-hand side. He cuts in from Gabriel. It's a dive from Cienza.
He pulls his foot away,
exactly. Gabriel does really well, pulls his foot away. He should be booked, because Sam Barrett, the referee, has got it absolutely spot on in real time. That is a blatant dive.
My question would be, why did he need to go down? He's in a shooting position. He's done the hard work.
Exactly, because he thinks he's just trying to buy the foul from Gabriel. Gabriel actually knows, I know exactly what we're going to do. So again, it was good defending. The second time Gabriel's been caught sort of 1v1, so he didn't dive in, and he ends up shouting in Cienza's face. I cannot believe, I express it enough, that Sam Barrett, the referee, got it right. But if he thinks it's a dive, he probably doesn't think it's as a blatant a dive, in real time. 100% it's a dive. But you see Southampton there, they're going out of possession, they're going 4-4-2. It's what they call it, just like a mid-block basically. But they are very, very quick on the counter-attack.
You're listening to Talksport on this busy day of FA Cup quarter-final action. 4 minutes gone, Southampton 0, Arsenal 0, but already it is shaping up to be a proper cup tie. Arsenal being hassled and harried every time they're in possession. And that was Lewis Skelly being forced to retreat as he was closed down, and then the ball given away cheaply in midfield by Norgard. Here's Fellows cutting into the centre circle. Ross Stewart able to hold the ball up midway inside Arsenal territory. And now Cienza comes forward down the left again. Tries to poke it forward back towards Stewart. One back by Arsenal. And Ødegaard in possession, I think, just trying to calm the tempo of the game. It has started at a frenetic pace.
It's absolutely relentless. And the problem Arsenal have had in this first 5 minutes, Cookie, is they keep giving the ball away cheaply. And to be fair to Southampton, when they do get themselves in possession, the first thing they look to do is pass forward. They look to get it into Stewart, or they get Cienza on the left and Fellows on the right, just to get them 1v1s. So the way that Southampton have started, to say they haven't dropped deep in that really compact 4-4-2 shape.
Well, they haven't lost a game, Southampton, in any competition since losing here at home to Hull back on January the 21st. Arsenal victorious in 14 of their last 16 FA Cup quarter-finals, but did, as I mentioned, lose the last time they played here in the world's most famous domestic competition.
Just looking at Arsenal, Cookie, when it goes back to Peretz in the Southampton goal, Arsenal going man for man. If he does it, gets his out quicker, there's a 4v4 on, because I say Arsenal decided to go on the high press. Peretz there just took a little bit too long. When the goalkeeper rolls his foot over the top of the ball and then has a little another touch, if he goes long, he's got to go long into Stewart quickly, and then then there's trouble for Arsenal.
At the moment, I think this midfield area is looking quite key, because you look at the two holders for Arsenal. Ødegaard, as I mentioned, hasn't played since February 22nd. Norgard looks a bit rusty as well, but they're coming forward here, Arsenal, to the edge of the penalty area, and the shot driven low by Dowman, but straight into the arms of a grateful Peretz. But, well, that was the directness that Max Dowman, 16 years of age, offers this team.
Yeah, that was brilliant play from Max Dowman on Arsenal's right-hand side. Manning just sold himself far too easily, got a little bit too tight. Max Dowman spun him, just kept running and running about 30-40 yards, got onto his left foot. He's trying to bend it into Peretz's right-hand post, just didn't get enough purchase on it. In the end, it was an easy save for the Southampton goalkeeper.
Super Max Dowman, that's what the Arsenal fans over on the far side are singing. And he's in possession again here. Ben White had made the overlapping run and visibly frustrated he didn't get the ball, and then Mosquera has had it stolen off his toes by Ross Stewart. Stewart raiding down the left-hand side for Southampton, coming in field, spotting the run of Bragg. He's urged to shoot by the Southampton fans, trying to just slide it out to the right-hand side. And Azaz, and in the end the move breaks down, and now Dowman with the opportunity to counter. This has started like a basketball match, 8 minutes gone, but it's attack after counter-attack. 0-0 at St Mary's.
It is like the NBA cricket. To be fair, Arsenal gave the word cheaply well. Mosquera had the ball, and then he hit his standing foot, and he had the cheeks look down at the pitch, as if say there's a bobble or divot.
Lewis Skelly trying to hold it up on the edge of the Southampton penalty area, but immediately Saints win it back, and it's Azaz into the centre circle. Again, it's that 4-on-4 situations. Azaz out to his right-hand side. Fellows into the penalty area. Can he get onto his left foot? Yes, he can. And that's another really good block by Lewis Skelly this time. Still Southampton have the ball. The home fans fully invested in the early stages here. Arsenal in a battle in this FA Cup quarter-final. Cienza running at Ben White over on the far side, the left, then just rolls it back to the left back position, and it's collected now by Nathan Wood, furthest back of the outfield Southampton players. Mikel Arteta looking very animated down below us on the touchline at a sold out St Mary's, 0-0 with 9 minutes gone. But I think Tom Nareka, the Southampton manager, will be delighted with the way his team have begun this game.
Very much so, because Arsenal obviously want to get control, get themselves in possession. It's been a culmination of two things quickly. Arsenal have been given the ball away cheaply, but Southampton have pressed really well.
Though by Ødegaard from one end of the field to the other. Martinelli into the penalty area. He's got Jesus up in support, goes for goal himself, takes a huge deflection and loops behind for the first corner of the evening. 9 minutes gone, 0-0.
Said there's a brilliant ball there from Martin Ødegaard, dropping deep in that quarterback position, just spraying it out to Martinelli on that left-hand side. Finds himself 1v1 with Bree. Bree actually knows that he's going to cut inside onto his right foot. To be fair, it was good defending from Bree, because he just made sure that he tracked the run, got his block in. Corner for Arsenal over on their right-hand side.
Martin Ødegaard in front of the Arsenal supporters will take it. Set piece again, ole ole, is the song emanating from that packed out away end. And we know, of course, all about Arsenal's prowess from these dead balls. Ødegaard puts his right arm in the air, prepares to take this left-footer from the far side. In fact, in the end, they've gone short, Arsenal. Jesus coming out in support, and it's laid back to Martinelli, and that shot may well have been goal-bound, and it's headed over his own crossbar by Harwood-Bellis.
Everybody thinks that Ødegaard's just going to whip it in with his left foot, just tries to go short, goes into Jesus, then it comes out to Martinelli on the edge of the D, just tried to bend it with his right foot across Peretz into his top right-hand corner. Brilliant block from Harwood-Bellis, just gets his head on it. Another corner for Arsenal on their left-hand side.
Yeah, Taylor Harwood-Bellis was excellent in that victory at Fulham in the last round. We feel he's going to have to be right at the top of his game, the England international, this evening, as Arsenal have their second corner in quick succession. Martinelli this time, deep delivery to the far post, headed down by Norgard, then it was flicked goalwards, I think, by Gabriel Jesus, who made that darting run, and in the end it's clear behind for another corner.
Yeah, there's a bit of a worry there for Southampton, because Martinelli's obviously whipped it in with his right foot. Norgard was completely unmarked on the far post. If he gets a better header back across the goal, comes to Jesus, he tries to flick it on, gets another block. Corner again for Arsenal on their left.
And it'll be Martinelli once more. So we're going to see a different routine this time. No, it's almost the exact same delivery, and again it's headed down the far post, but this time straight into the arms of the Israeli Peretz, and it stays 0-0 at St Mary's. Already today we brought you live and exclusive national radio commentary of Liverpool 4, Manchester City 4, Liverpool 0.
You wish.
Liverpool fans wish. And Chelsea's 7-0 demolition of Port Vale. So those two safely through to the semi-finals of the FA Cup. Either West Ham or Leeds will join them tomorrow. We've got live commentary from the London Stadium at 4:30, and then a stack of EFL action on Easter Monday, starting, well, not too far from here, along the M27 at Fratton Park. A huge relegation six-pointer in the Championship between Portsmouth and Oxford. That gets underway at 12:30 on Monday. That would be the dream scenario for Southampton. They win promotion this season, and their bitter rivals drop back into the third tier. Arsenal, of course, have got similar sentiments when it comes to Tottenham.
Do you know what? I haven't, Crookie. I don't want them to go down. I want the.
You'd say that with a straight face.
I am. You'd miss the North London derby. You'd miss it. Arsenal fans.
You'd miss those 6 points.
Well, you said that. I didn't.
Here's Martinelli coming in field for Arsenal. 0-0. And the Gunners, after a frantic start to the game, just slowing it down a bit and beginning to dictate possession, as I'm sure Mikel Arteta would have wanted them to.
Yeah, Southampton just defending a little bit deeper now. So at first it was sort of in the mid block with the 4-4-2. Now they're just defending at their own 18-yard box.
And here's Dowman looking for the cross, left-footed from the right-hand side. Havertz with his back to goal, couldn't quite bring it down. And Southampton on the counter with Ross Stewart, who's deceptively quick, isn't he, for a big man? And he's got there ahead of Gabriel. And again, Arsenal a bit short-handed defensively as Bragg swings in the ball into the penalty area, brought down by Azaz. Maybe should have tried to volley it first time. It would have had to be brilliant technique, but by taking a touch, that just enabled Arsenal to get back and clear.
God, it's a brilliant ball from Bragg, from slightly inside right position, just swinging it over to Azaz. You said Azaz controlled it on his shoulder. He should have controlled it on his chest. Then he gets his volley away. Well,
Southampton are unhappy here because it looked like a foul on Kai Havertz over on the far side, but he took a long time, the referee, to call the play back. I think it was Kasper Janda who just slid in with a sort of scissor tackle.
It's not a foul, Crookie, honestly, because, say, Janda's actually gone to ground and he's actually got the ball in between his feet, and then the follow-through has gone through onto Havertz. That's just a coming together. That's a natural coming together, like a football action. Say Sam Barrett, who's refereed the game quite well up to now, I think he's got that one wrong, because when Havertz goes over, the frustration of the Southampton fans is they've got good possession and they've got a 3v3.
You are listening to FA Cup Game Day on Talksport with McDonald's. Order delivery on the McDonald's app from 11 a.m, 18 plus. Fees applied to delivery orders, subject to availability. Prices may vary. 14 minutes gone, 0-0. Well, Southampton with that front four causing Arsenal all kinds of problems. Dowman started the game well, Perry, over on that right-hand side.
Yeah, he's had a good battle with Ryan Manning, I've said, on right-hand side. Just seeing again, Arsenal got the full court press on. Again, they're leaving 4v4. If Southampton can get out a little bit quicker.
Yanda just overhit the pass to this near side. It's run back first by Lewis Skelly, and he gets it back from Martinelli inside the penalty area. Low cross, but is cleared away. And back now on the right corner of that Saints penalty area, and it's Harwood Bellis, the skipper, son-in-law of Roy Keane, who plays it out for left and looks to pick out Cienza. Cienza's got in behind here, and he's got options streaming forward. He couldn't quite pick out Stewart on the edge of the penalty area with a cutback, and it's Norgard who runs the ball away for Arsenal.
There's really good defensive play there from Norgard. He just made sure that he stayed in the space.
Here come the Gunners at the other end. Kai Havertz, left corner of the 18-yard box, rolls it out to his left, and Martinelli. Ødegaard wanted it cut back. Havertz continues his run into the area, and the sliding challenge comes in to divert the ball behind for another Arsenal corner. 4 already. We've only played 16 minutes, 0-0.
Yeah, there's a bit of frustration there from Martinelli, because when Kai Havertz had it initially, Martinelli made the run in behind, and Havertz decided to take another touch. Then he just rolls it out to Martinelli. Then Havertz goes on the underlap, gets himself to the byline. Good defending again from Southampton. But just seeing that there's been a sort of a phase of Southampton's play, Cricket, where, especially from the right-hand side, they look to put the ball cross-field very, very quickly, as if that, there's a gap over on where Ben White is at the right-back position, where Cienza's been in a bit of space.
Martinelli with a corner, near side the left. Goalless at St Mary's with 16 minutes gone on Talksport. Short one to Ødegaard. Lewis Skelly's in acres of space on the edge of the penalty area. Nobody closed him down. He rolls it into Dowman. Dowman with a low shot, left-footed. Blocked by those yellow jerseys, camped inside their own box, but it's still not clear. Brought down by Gabriel over on the far side this time, and then Dowman infield to Lewis Skelly. They can't get out here, Southampton, and it's Gabriel Jesus, the Brazilian, who is looking to pick out the cross too deep, and Perret scrambling. I think was always fairly confident that was going to go behind for a goal kick for Southampton. Should Dowman have got the shot away earlier?
Yeah, I think because it came to Max Dowman on the edge of the D, and it was on his right foot, he didn't want to take that chance. Same with Lewis Skelly. There's a couple of times, Crookie, that Arsenal, instead of just putting the ball into the 18-yard box from the corner, have actually had 3 times where they've done the short corner where they're trying to get that player free on the edge of the 18-yard box, but twice it's fallen, once to Lewis Skelly and Max Dowman, and they had it on their right foot.
Oh, and Cienza's got in behind. There was a mistake at the heart of the Arsenal defence. Cienza, one-on-one with the goalkeeper, rounds the goalkeeper, but he's taken it too wide, and Mosquera is able to knock the ball out of play for a throw-in. It was route one from Southampton. It flicked off an Arsenal head, maybe Norgard, and Cienza all of a sudden was clean through. Shambolic defending, which we don't usually say about this Arsenal side. He has to score, doesn't he, Cienza?
It's really bad defending from Gabriel. He thinks he's going to win the header. It comes off the top of his head. Cienza thinks he'll be 1v1 Crookie. It was brilliant defending from Mosquera because he didn't give it up. Cienza thinks he goes past Kepa, he's going to roll it in. All of a sudden Mosquera gets his long Inspector Gadget leg out and just whips the ball away from him. Brilliant defending from Mosquera, getting his teammate Gabriel out of a massive hole.
Biggest chance of the game goes the way of Southampton. Cienza thought he'd done the hard part, I think, by rounding Kepa, but Mosquera, a brilliant turn of foot to get back there and slide in and clear what was a really dangerous situation. Cienza's been clattered by Norgard. It will be a Southampton free kick in their left wing position over on the far side with 19 minutes gone, 0-0.
To be fair, Crookie, if you're Tonda Eckhart, you'd be absolutely delighted with the way Southampton team was done. They've got Arsenal rattled, say, because their defensive shape is really good, but when Arsenal give the ball away, they spring forward very quickly. In the wide areas, Cienza had that 1v1 chance with Kepa, and obviously Mosquera just took it off his toe. But Arsenal, because Southampton's closing down is that good, Arsenal keep giving the ball away too cheaply, especially in the centre of the pitch.
Do you think they need to sit a bit deeper, the Arsenal defence?
No, I think you see with Arteta that he knows that obviously Southampton want to play out from the back.
Well, they've done that there, but it's given away by Harwood Bellis. Only momentarily. Fellows has done well to hold off the attentions of Lewis Skelly. Then wins himself a free kick 10 yards inside the Southampton half. The home supporters clearly feel they're not getting the benefit of the referee's calls tonight, with an ironic round of cheers there as that decision was made. I think actually Sam Barrett has done his best to let the game flow in these first 20 minutes.
Yep. So you got the penalty decision right where Cienza obviously dived like Tom Daly. I think it was about probably a 6.9. Crookie, do you think the landing wasn't that good, was it?
I'll tell you what, Ross Stewart at Southampton go long again there. He is literally climbing on the back of Mosquera. But he is a handful, isn't he, Stewart, for both these central defenders?
Very much so. And as you said there, Crookie, he's a lot quicker than I think people give him credit for, because he had a foot race with Gabriel, and it looked like Gabriel normally would just, put on the afterburner to take it off him. He didn't. He matched him stride for stride.
Well, I worked it out before the last round against Fulham when he came off the bench and got the penalty winner, Ross Stewart. Since he joined Southampton back in 2023, he's missed more than 100 games through injury. As Dowman comes forward down the Arsenal right, dribbles his way into the penalty area, but he runs the ball out. It'll be a goal kick for the home side. If they'd had him fit more often, I think he'd be a real cult hero. The man that, of course, Sunderland fans affectionately know as the Loch Ness Drogba.
You say, well, he's given Mosquera and Gabriel a lot to think about in this first 20 minutes. You saw Max Dowman there again, 1v1 with Ryan Manning. Ryan Manning did really well. Dowman tried to go on the outside of him.
Lovely ball from Fellows into midfield, and Bragg, who's used possession really well in these first 21 minutes whenever he's had it. Cameron Bragg, local boy. Winchester ball not too far from here at St Mary's, as they go all the way back Southampton to Harwood Bellis, wearing the captain's armband in the absence of the injured Jack Stevens. Now Peretz, all in dark green, the Southampton goalkeeper, part of a power couple in his native Israel. They call the Posh and Becks of Israel. He's married to a singer who came third in the Eurovision Song Contest, or he's engaged to. Yeah, don't marry him off just yet. Plenty of time for that.
Don't think there's any escaping quickly. He's engaged.
We've reached the 22-minute mark. It's Southampton 0, Arsenal 0. Ollie Klink, our presenter, just wiping his brow. I don't think he has to worry about getting engaged anytime soon. Here's Martinelli into the penalty area. He's dispossessed, and Southampton clear up to the halfway line.
I think the only engaged Ollie's got to worry about is in the gents' toilets, isn't it?
or if he calls someone when they're on the phone. Here's Mosquera in the centre circle for Arsenal. Ødegaard takes over. A frustrated spectator as they lost that League Cup final against Manchester City, and all eyes really on the Gunners tonight to see how they bounce back, particularly with City getting that statement win earlier against Liverpool. Here's Dowman in space, down by the right corner flag. He's running at Manning. He pulls it back to Ben White on the edge of the area. Low ball into Norgard. His touch is poor. Jesus keeps it alive on the edge of the 6-yard box. Then Manning able to side foot clear back towards halfway. But Ødegaard straight back in possession for Arsenal. Jinks his way beyond Stewart. Midway inside Saints territory. Arsenal attacking the goal away to our left-hand side as darkness falls here on the south coast. Opportunity for a cross from White on the far side, blocked behind, and Arsenal have their 5th corner.
Yeah, Southampton just started just to sit a little bit deeper. Martin Ødegaard trying to get himself on the ball. Max Dowman makes a run in from that right-hand side, leaves a space out there for Ben White. Ødegaard finds him, but to be fair again, it's good defending from Southampton. Cienza this time getting himself back. Ben White asking for the penalty, but Cienza's got his arm across his chest quite rightly. No chance of a penalty whatsoever. But again, it just shows with Southampton, Crookie, we said about, their defensive record, how good it is, only conceded 9 last 14 games. That's Cienza in the left-back position, just making sure he's doing his job for the team.
Corner for Arsenal from the right-hand side. Martinelli is lurking on the edge of the penalty area. They play it short to Kai Havertz. Ødegaard now the opportunity to roll it back to Dowman, and here is Martinelli 15 yards outside the box, back out to Dowman on that far touchline once more. He just taps it forward to Havertz. Low cross is cleared, but still Arsenal coming forward. Little back heel into Kai Havertz. Dowman urged to shoot by the Arsenal fans, but instead just rolls it to his left of Martinelli. Arsenal having to work their way through patiently here, but work their way through they are, and in the end the shot is charged down by James Bree, the right back for Southampton, still bobbling around inside that penalty area, brought down by Norgard 10 yards outside the box, and Arsenal will build again.
Yeah, you had every Southampton outfield player apart from Cienza back behind the ball, actually in the 18-yard box. They left Cienza up front, and Loch Ness Drogba's come back as well.
Dowman and White combining on the right hand side. They usher the ball infield to Jesus, and there's a shot from Ødegaard, slapped away at the near post by Peretz. That moved viciously in the air. Still Arsenal on the attack here. Southampton defending in number, and it's nodded clear on the edge of the area by Cienza, only as far as Lewis Skelly. Now Martinelli, 27 yards from goal, chips the ball out to the right corner of the penalty area, headed down by Gabriel, who'd stayed forward, and again Southampton clear up to halfway. That was a good save by Peretz down to his left as the ball moved dangerously in the air after being hit well by Ødegaard.
Yes, just Arsenal just starting to put a bit more pressure. The passing's a bit slicker, all 1 and 2 touch. Ødegaard gets on it, said he got it onto his left foot. Really good save from Perez.
Martinelli into the penalty area, cuts the cross back low, and another effort this time from Ødegaard. The goalkeeper was off balance. He couldn't quite, Martin Ødegaard, hit the target. I wonder if he just shanked it into the ground as he struck it.
I think it might have hit his standing foot. Really good play from Martinelli, get himself to the byline. And a player of Ødegaard's quality, he's got a score, Crookie. It comes to him on his left foot, and what he's done with his left foot, he's kicked it onto his standing foot. That's something that you'll very rarely see, because technically, and he just put his head in his hands and thought, I've missed a golden opportunity there. The coaching staff and the Arteta can't believe it, because there's one player you want it to fall to on his left foot. It will be Martin Ødegaard. Big chance.
Didn't David Beckham do that once, taking a penalty for England, hit the ball into his standing foot? Very similar situation. Another golden chance for Arsenal. 0-0, 27 minutes gone, but the Premier League lead is just beginning to take control of this tie. And that's a bad challenge that's going to result in the first yellow card of the game. Ryan Manning flying in, the man who gave away a penalty for Ireland in their World Cup playoff against Czechia, and he went right in the back of Max Dowman there.
Well, that's welcome to the Big Boys League, Max Dowman, because that's what's going to happen. Obviously, with Max Dowman's reputation, he's just cutting in from that right-hand side onto his left foot. And to be fair, he just mistimed it. It wasn't where you're going in studs up, where you know you're intensely going to hurt the player, but it was just putting his mark on him. Quite rightly, Samuel Barrett, the referee, just got his yellow card out for the first booking of the game. But now, if you're Max Dowman and you're Odegaard, you'll be going, right, just keep feeding him for the next like 10-15 minutes so he can get 1v1 with Manning, because obviously Manning's probably got one more foul in him and then he's on the tightrope.
And now Southampton have to defend another Arsenal set piece, played short by Odegaard, out to the left-hand side, or right-hand side, left foot across from Dowman. This time is straight into the arms of a grateful Peretz, and he bowls it half the length of the pitch, Peter Schmeichel style. Run back inside the centre circle by Lewis Skelly, but that was quite some throw. Dowman now running at Manning, who knows he can't dive in, but he does really well actually. Manning forced him wide and then cleared the ball against Dowman and behind for a goal kick. Initially the referee had signalled a corner, but Manning quite rightly was convinced it should be a goal kick, and the assistant concurs.
Yeah, Dowman just trying to go on the outside of Ryan Manning. Really good defending from Manning, just made sure, just went with a run, got his left-footed challenge in, ricochet back off of Max Dowman. Sam Barrett referee, spot on, goal kick.
Here's Havertz, 15 yards outside the penalty area, down the Arsenal right, where actually a lot of their players come in this opening 29 minutes, with Dowman, the youngster, heavily involved. Here's Odegaard. Again, over on that far side, Arsenal looking to get themselves into a crossing position. Ben White into midfield and Havertz, and then Odegaard picks out Dowman. Dowman's shot beaten away at the near post by Peretz for a corner.
Really good link-up play again on that right-hand side. Martin Odegaard just in that 10 position. Great little Cruyff flick. Puts it into the path of Max Dowman. Goes on the outside of Manning onto his right foot. Peretz just makes sure that he gets his angles right at the near post. Gets two big palms to it. Goes out for another corner for Arsenal on their right-hand side.
Could have been a bit awkward that if he went for the low route to goal, because there was a bright yellow balloon right in front of Daniel Peretz. It's still wafting its way across the penalty area. In fact, it's just been burst by Manning.
Darren Bent's not here, is he?
Oh, it did spring to my mind that we might be heading for a beach ball type incident. Corner for Arsenal. They've had 6 already in the first half an hour. 0-0 the score on Talksport, under the lights at St Mary's. Wins already today for Liverpool and for Chelsea in the FA Cup quarter-finals. Again, they've gone short. Ben White to Odegaard, into the penalty area, and Havertz with a cross, headed away by Harwood-Bellis on the edge of the 6-yard box. One back easily by Odegaard, slides it into Jesus in the penalty area. His touch trying to knock the ball around Cameron Bragg was heavy, and Southampton have a goal kick. It stays 0-0.
Yeah, again, it's Arsenal going short from the corners. You know, very unusual. 4th time they've done it. They're trying to free the player up on the edge of the D. Odegaard's just starting to get into his rhythm, Crook, isn't he? Just starting to get himself on the ball, where he said that lovely little flick he had into Max Dowman, where he got his shot away with his right foot. Southampton again playing out from the back, inviting Arsenal to press them.
Well, we talked about Saka and Rice not in the Arsenal squad tonight, looking a bit jaded after a long season. I guess Odegaard, it could be the opposite for him, having missed so much football. He could be quite fresh at the business end of the campaign. He's into the penalty area again here. His right-footed cross is blocked by Manning. Picked up by Odegaard once more, just in front of the right corner flag on that far side. Here's Havertz now, the German. Left-footed shot, took a deflection, could have gone anywhere, and bounces just the wrong side of the post. Peretz, not sure, had that covered.
Yeah, I think it was Wood who actually went out to Kai Havertz, just making sure he goes to close him down, because Southampton have started to drop that little bit deeper. Then there's a little bit more space on the edge of the 18-yard box. Kai Havertz getting the ball onto his left foot. It was a good block from Wood. Looked for a minute it might spin over Peretz, but lucky enough for Southampton, he went a couple of yards wide. Another corner for Arsenal on their left-hand side.
They've been penned back though, haven't they, inside their own half, Southampton, for 7 or 8 minutes now, and having to survive a barrage of set pieces. Gabriel Martinelli, who's gone deep with his previous 2 efforts from this near side, again opts to play it short to Havertz. Now Odegaard, left corner of the 18-yard box, into the teenager Lewis Skelly, and then Havertz with a deeper delivery. Norgard was the target. As did just enough, stood in front of Norgard, and actually got a push in the back for his troubles, and it's going to be a free kick for Southampton. Southampton, whose chances of promotion back to the Premier League were boosted without kicking a ball on Good Friday. A lot of the teams in and around them in the hunt for a playoff place, dropping points. They go to Wrexham on Tuesday night, which is absolutely massive in terms of the race for a top 6 place. We wouldn't have said that when Tonda Eckert came in and they were looking nervously over their shoulders towards a potential relegation dogfight.
Yeah, just looking again with Southampton, who've got the free kick. If Peretz does it quicker, there's a 4v4. But then he's obviously waved all of his team further up the pitch. That enables now Arsenal to get themselves back into a defensive shape. So that's just a little phase of his play.
Here's Azaz after good hold-up play by Stewart on the edge of the penalty area. And then Stewart closing down Kepa. And Kepa just got there ahead of the Southampton striker and managed to steer the ball out of play on the far side for a throw. That Wrexham game live on Talksport 2 on Tuesday night.
Yeah, Ben White just looked like he sold his goalkeeper a little bit short there with Kepa. To be fair, Kepa did well in the end, just made sure he got his connection on the ball. That enabled Southampton to recycle possession.
I mean, they do like to pass their way out from the back, Perry, but they've not been afraid to mix it at times. We've seen the goalkeeper Peretz punt it long on a couple of occasions. He hurled it all the way to the halfway line at one stage as well, and that's just keeping the Southampton defence on their toes, that variation from the home team. 0-0 with 11 minutes to play in this first half. One back high up the field on that far side by Ben White. Looks to cut the cross back, but it's cleared by Southampton, and then Azaz immediately tries to play the ball over the top of Gabriel and into Ross Stewart, and again Stewart got there ahead of his defender. Cienza up against Mosquera, skips into the penalty area, cross towards the far post, over the head of Lewis Skelly, brought down by Fellows inside the 18-yard box, and then he runs into Martinelli, almost gave the ball away, still gets across into the box, headed down by Gabriel and then thumped upfield by Miles Lewis Skelly. And Arsenal have it back today with Havertz, not quite because it was run by Fellows, then Havertz stuck out the leg, surely brought him down. Quite cynical from the Arsenal man, the home supporters asking for a yellow card. It's just going to be a free kick, I think.
Yeah, Crookie Havertz just slipped over. Because he slipped over, then the follow-through took him into Bragg. It was at 100% as a foul, but there's no intention there. Again, we saw that ball, Crookie, from the right-hand side from Azaz over to Stewart on that left-hand side. Good, like 50-60 yard switch of play, which has been sort of a big part of Southampton's play in this first half.
That's the voice of the former Arsenal winger Perry Groves, ex-Southampton player as well, although not many inside St Mary's tonight will particularly remember that.
It's a bit of a stretch. Don't remember how many times I have to keep saying sorry.
Here's Dalman on the edge of the penalty area. Southampton with plenty back behind the ball. Again, having to keep their concentration as Erdegaard looks for space inside the box. His back heel towards Dalman. Intercepted by Cienza. The home fans roaring their team on this counter-attack. Cienza out to the right-hand side and James Bree well forward. Bree, 22 yards from goal. There's to shoot by the Southampton fans. Crosses. Oh, he's brought down. And a big opportunity. And a goal for Ross Stewart. Southampton lead. And Ross Stewart, hero at Craven Cottage in the last round, has come up with another storybook moment. St Mary's goes wild. And Arsenal, having been beaten in the League Cup final and behind in the FA Cup, the Loch Ness Drogba is monstering the Arsenal defence.
Well, Ross Stewart, some guys have all the luck. That was when Ben White got himself underneath the ball. Brilliant play from Bree, just cutting him from the right-hand side, distinct at the far post. Ben White looks like he's going to win the header. Ben White mistimed it completely, goes underneath the ball, and then it comes to Stewart, gets his touch out of his feet with his right foot. As the ball sits up, he smashes past Kepa down to his left-hand side, gives him absolutely no chance whatsoever. Fantastic goal on the counter-attack from Southampton. Crookie, that all started because it was a sloppy back heel promoted Odegaard over on the right-hand side where Arsenal attacking. Ben White has to do better because, to say, he's got to make sure he gets a contact on the ball, just goes underneath it. Brilliant goal from Ross Stewart. Southampton, you have to say, Crookie, deservedly go 1-0 up here at St Mary's against Arsenal.
Mikel Arteta deep in conversation with Kai Havertz. We wondered how Arsenal would respond to that chastening second half at Wembley 2 weeks ago. Well, the answer is they've fallen behind in the FA Cup quarter-final. 37 minutes gone. Southampton 1, Arsenal 0. And the noise level inside St Mary's has just racketed up again on the back of that goal as Kai Havertz is penalised for a foul on Cienza. But I have to say, Perry, the front four for Southampton have been absolutely terrific in this first half. Whenever they've had the opportunity to run at the Arsenal defence, they've not given them a minute's peace.
Well, we said that they will commit bodies forward, Crookie. Exactly what happened. There was a little 10-minute period before Southampton scored where Arsenal were dominating possession. They chopped it deeper. But what Southampton do brilliantly is, when they do turn the ball over, as you said, they absolutely sprint to get themselves. Cienza on the left, Fellows on the right. This time, it was Stewart who just left 1v1 with Ben White on the far post, and Ben White got himself underneath the ball.
And here comes Cienza. He's been tripped, is he, by White on that far side. It's a free kick for Southampton, and Ross Stewart celebrates like he scored again. They are on the ropes here, Arsenal, and this is what the FA Cup is all about. Under the lights of St Mary's, a full house, the atmosphere absolutely electric. And on a day when Manchester City and Chelsea have won easily, well, it certainly isn't an easy night for the Premier League leaders here. And they've got a free kick to defend away to our right-hand side. Southampton 1, Arsenal 0. Ross Stewart with a goal for those of you just joining us here on Talksport, as the yellow balloons have thrown up into the air behind that goal that Saints are attacking once more. These feel like pivotal moments in the game. Yander with a free kick, which is swung in towards the near post, headed away by Havertz. Bragg urged to shoot as he brings the ball down on the edge of the penalty area, but opts to play it back into midfield, and the deep delivery almost kicking out Harwood Bellis just over his head and behind for a goal kick for Arsenal, who trail 1-0.
Quick, you know, we said earlier before the game that Ton Hart in his interview had said they'd worked on a few things where they think they could get Arsenal. What stood out in this first half is he said their switch of play from right to left, because they probably think, obviously, if Ben White is pushing on, Mosquera, you know, is out on isolated on that right-hand side, and the goal came from that. It was a brilliant ball from Jamesbury from the right-hand side.
Little back heel into Martin Ødegaard. Ødegaard adjust to have bundled over Yander. He clearly feels that was a harsh decision, but it will be a Southampton free kick just for Arsenal. We're looking to get in behind there. Got to say, it's minimal
very
contact.
Soft. That's a really poor decision by the system on the right-hand side. Great little flick from Max Dowman down the touchline. Looked like Ødegaard was getting himself away from Yander.
Kepa came a long way off his line there. Miscued his clearance. It comes to Azaz. He's urged to shoot. Goes for the dink. Kepa was back in position, and he manages to catch the ball under his crossbar.
I think you could hear 29,000 Southampton fans saw that obviously Kepa was off the line, and Azaz unfortunately couldn't get it from out underneath his feet and just tried to chip it a little bit too late.
Here's Azaz again inside the centre circle. Almost gave it away to Lewis Skelly. There was a coming together, but again the referee says play on. Harwood Bellis very comfortable playing out from the back, just rolls it to his left, and the German Yander. Now Cienza. Little box of tricks, the 27-year-old Brazilian, as Harwood Bellis looks for Fellows. Kepa comes to the edge of the area and collects that and bowls the ball immediately to Kai Havertz. Southampton 1, Arsenal 0. 5 minutes to go in the first half, live on Talksport in St Mary's.
Well, you have to say it's been an exhilarating game, Cookie, this 40 minutes that we've seen, and how impressed that we've been with Southampton, because they probably thought, you know, they wouldn't have the lion's share of possession, but when they're in possession, they are so dynamic. So they look to go forward very, very quickly.
Again, a good ball forward, looking for Ross Stewart. He took Mosquera and Lewis Skelly to head it out for a throw. James Bree, who got the extra time winner here against Leicester in round 4, when I think Southampton were particularly desperate to get through to the 5th round, but they're certainly desperate to get through to the semi-final. He takes the throw, and they go all the way back in their own half, and Wood. There's 2 more yellow balloons stray onto the playing surface. Ball knocked out to Cienza on the left-hand side. Cienza infield to the Southampton goal scorer Ross Stewart. And now Bragg, just on the edge of the centre circle. Out to his right is Bree, and this is Fellows now. Level with the 18-yard line, Fellows. Opportunity to get into the penalty area. Onto his left foot. His cross-come shot hit the back of Azaz. It almost came back for Fellows before being poked away by Gabriel. Still not cleared their lines yet, though, Arsenal. Azaz brings it down, and there was almost an opportunity for Fellows. Couldn't get the shot away, and it's collected by the purple-shirted Kepa Arrizabalaga. Southampton 1, Arsenal 0.
Do you know what? Southampton are very good at, well, Crookie. All the little 50-50s, all the knockdowns, they're in you, they're at your face. They're just getting little nicks and little knocks or putting you off balance and haven't given Arsenal any time to settle.
Here's Dowman. Arsenal looking to get back on terms before half-time. Odegaard just outside the penalty area. Out to his right. And White, who certainly didn't cover himself in glory for the Southampton goal, got caught underneath the ball as it came in for Stewart. Brilliant take on the chest and a thumping finish into the far corner to give Southampton this precious advantage. Here's Norgard. His 100% record in an Arsenal shirt under threat. 18 games he's played, Norgard, this season. 18 victories before tonight. Here's Dowman into the penalty area. Disappointing delivery and cleared away side-footed by Nathan Wood.
Yeah, I think Max Dowman there thought Ben White was going to make a run from the edge of the 18-yard box. Had a little dink pass and Ben White was just stood still.
Here is White, though. Opportunity to cross from the right-hand side. Takes a big deflection, but well handled by Peretz as it looked up in the air with Jesus lurking.
Yeah, easy take from Peretz. Just looking again. Arsenal left 1v1. It was Mosquera against Stewart, and Stewart actually was bellowing at Peretz to release the ball a little bit earlier.
And Stewart forcing the error from Kepa Arrizabalaga as Southampton went long again. He was closing down the Spaniard and he shanks his clearance out of play for a throw-in on this near side. David Raya amongst those watching on from the Arsenal bench, and well, big pressure on Kepa tonight after the mistake in the cup final. Nothing he could do about the goal. I think his distribution and his decision-making at times has looked a bit cloudy.
Yeah, I think what it is, obviously he's nowhere near as good as the ball at his feet that David Raya is. And the thing with Mikel Arteta, he likes to have total control. Now, Arsenal have had, obviously, the majority of possession, Crookie, but you wouldn't say they've controlled the game. Especially out of possession, Arsenal, one of the better sides to control the game out of possession, but Southampton have made sure they've been in their face, just moved the ball very quickly, switch play quickly as well, so they've knocked Arsenal out of their stride.
Martinelli brings the ball neatly from the sky on the edge of the Southampton penalty area. It's the final minute of the first half. The Saints lead 1-0. I don't think there'll be too much by way of added on time because the game has flowed really well. Gabriel goes all the way back to Kepa, right in the centre of the Arsenal half, away to our right, forward to Norgard, the ex-Brentford skipper. And listen to the noise levels inside the St Mary's Stadium. I hope that's coming across at home, just how loud these Southampton supporters are. Norgard looking to pick his way through. He's almost tackled by one of those balloons that keep blowing across the pitch on a blustery and slightly chilly night down by the coast. Here's Gabriel Jesus dropping deep for Arsenal into midfield. One added minute at the end of the first half just been indicated on the electronic board down below us. Here is Martinelli, maybe the last Arsenal chance to get back on terms before the interval. Cuts it back to Odegaard. Odegaard with a cross, only half away. Dowman brings it down the chest. They claim he was offside, Southampton, but play continues. Everybody in yellow back inside the penalty area, away to our right as Norgard gets the shot away from 22 yards out straight into the arms of the goalkeeper Peretz. 1-0 Saints.
Yeah, Max Dowman just rolling it to Norgard on the edge of the 18-yard box on the right-hand side. Norgard just trying to whip his shot across Peretz. In the end, he just goes straight to him.
And here's Stewart trying to bully those two Arsenal centre-backs again. Gabriel able to nod it back to his goalkeeper Arrizabalaga. And there are seconds remaining now at the end of this first half. The roar is going to raise the roof of St Mary's if Southampton can see out this 1-0 lead. Going into the interval. And there is the half-time whistle. While Arsenal, battered and bruised at Wembley by Manchester City last time out, have been roughed up in this first half by Championship Southampton. Ross Stewart, the toast of the Saints once again. His goal after a mistake by Ben White has set Southampton on course for an unlikely place in the semi-finals. Half half-time at a jubilant St Mary's. It is Southampton 1, Arsenal 0.
Alex Crook, thank you very much indeed. Well, so far the FA Cup is delivering. Southampton in front at half-time. A rocket of a finish from Ross Stewart, and I tell you what, St Mary's was shaking when that ball hit the back of the net. Perry Groves, you said in commentary that the game plan had been perfect from Southampton. They've gone direct, they've soaked up that pressure that Arsenal were putting on them in that first half, but they've hit them on the counter so well, and I would say deserve their lead.
Yeah, very much so. It's been an exhilarating first half, hasn't it, to be fair, Ol? And that is because Southampton haven't showed Arsenal any respect at all. They've made sure that they go to 4-4-2 shape when they're out of position. For the first 10-15 minutes, it was sort of the middle of the pitch, then they just dropped a bit deeper. But what they do brilliantly is, when they do get possession, where Arsenal have been a little bit sloppy, they go forward very quickly. And it's not just lumping it forward, it's either putting it into Ross Stewart, into the channels, or they go wide to Fellows or wide to Cienza. And they said, in that first half, a feature of their play was, from the right-hand side, they've been in a lot of crossfield balls, probably 60, 70 yards, whether it's to Cienza, whether it's to Ross Stewart, and that's exactly where the goal come from.
And talking of the goal, James Bree comes forward, and I think a lot of the Southampton fans, he approached the edge of the box, and a lot of them were calling for him to shoot. He has the presence of mind to try and chip one towards the back post. Now listen, Ben White should do better. He should deal with it. But then the finish from Stewart is something else. And I tell you what as well, he has been a nuisance throughout that first half and made it so difficult for those Arsenal defenders.
Yeah, very much so. And he'll definitely want to talk about it, Stewart, afterwards, because it was that good a finish. Because Ben White, as you said, has gone underneath the ball. It's a great ball from Bree from the right-hand side. But then Ben White's got to make sure that he backs into Stewart so that he doesn't get a free header, number one. For some reason, Ben White goes underneath the ball, comes to Stewart. It's a brilliant first touch on his chest, gets out of his feet, then he just waits as the ball bounces up, he volleys it with his right foot low down to Kepa's left, gives him absolutely no chance whatsoever. And so that was a feature of Southampton play from right to left, going very, very quickly. And it's a credit to Tonda Eckhart, the Southampton manager, because he set his team out to go and get in Arsenal's faces and close down. But when they haven't closed down, then they drop deep. But their shape is very good. Arsenal giving the ball away sloppily loads of times, and the goal came from a really sloppy back heel from Martin Odegaard on the edge of the 18-yard box for Southampton. Give the ball away, and then in transition, Southampton, two passes out to Bree, next pass ends up in the back of Arsenal's net.
It's felt disjointed, hasn't it, from Arsenal? Is that to do with the collection of players that are on the field? It's obviously not the strongest lineup, the most familiar lineup that we see often from Arsenal, but let's be honest, Perry, there's a lot of quality in there.
Yeah, very much so. Odegaard, Arsenal dominated for sort of the mid 10-15 minutes, didn't they? Odegaard get himself on the ball, and at 0-0 Arsenal had the best chance of the game when the ball was just laid back to Martin Odegaard. He was only 12 yards out onto his left foot. 9 times out of 10 that ends up in the back of the net, high to Perez's right hand side, and he actually, with his left foot, he actually stubs it onto his standing foot and goes wide. So that was Arsenal's best chance of the game. But with Southampton, the other thing that's very impressive with them, Harwood, Bellis and Wood, because obviously they like to get a bit wider when they're in possession, they're very, very comfortable on the ball. They're not frightened if it's just passed it through the lines, whether it's into Yander, into Bragg. So you'd say out the two managers, Tonda Eckhart's going to be the happiest because they're 1-0 up, but he'll be delighted that he and his team have put Arsenal out of their stride. You know, Arsenal normally control the game in possession, but out of possession, Arsenal look normally very, very solid. They haven't looked solid in that first half against Southampton here today.
And when you look at that Arsenal bench as well, Perry, you've got Noni Madueke, who is just coming back to be fully fit. I'm not even sure how many minutes that he could play. You have got Victor Gyökeres on there, but other than that, there are a fair few youngsters on there. Should that give a cause for concern for any Arsenal fans, or do you think they should have enough to get back into this in the second half?
I would be surprised if after 10 minutes in the second half, because Gabriel Jesus up front hasn't held the ball up. It keeps coming back far too easily Harwood, Bellis and Wood have sort of dominated him. So I'd be amazed if you don't see Victor Gyökeres. It all depends. Obviously, he played his 2 games for Sweden, how many minutes that he gives him. But the one player that, if you want to get control of the game, you've got Zubamendi on the bench. So he was the one, maybe that you could come and play him a little bit deeper, because Arsenal haven't looked fluid apart from that 10-15 minute period in the first half. They're giving the ball away too much, and obviously because these players haven't played together regularly, you can understand it, but there's no excuse giving sloppy passes away when you're under no pressure, and that's been their problem. And as I said, Southampton, as soon as they win the ball in transition, 1, they're very quick, and 2, they're very, very effective, and they're very precise, as I say. So you can tell they're a team that's playing with confidence, unbeaten in the last 14 games, in all competitions. So the Southampton fans, you could hear the massive cheer at half-time because their team are deservedly 1-0 up.
Yeah, we've certainly got a cup tie on our hands. Perry Groves, thank you very much indeed. This is FA Cup Game Day Live with me, Ollie Klink. The score is Southampton 1, Arsenal 0 in the FA Cup quarter-final so far. Don't forget that Talksport is your home of the EFL too, and we have another huge round of fixtures on Easter Monday, live across the network, a feast of football, including Ipswich against Birmingham and Coventry looking to take another step closer to the Premier League against Hull. To hear all of our live games, just download the Talksport app for free. The boxing undercard of the heavyweight clash between Derek Chisora and Deontay Wilder, by the way, is underway at the O2. It's over on Talksport 2, and you can watch along from ringside on the Talksport Boxing YouTube channel. And then the main event, don't forget, will be on Talksport straight after this game too. And by the way, the latest episode of How to Win the World Cup is now available as comedians Matt Ford and Jacob Hawley speak to the authority on South American football, Tim Vickery, about Brazil's chances this summer and whether they can end their 24-year wait to win that World Cup. But what a day it has been so far of FA Cup quarter-final action, and here's how it sounded on Talksport.
Coming inside, he's found O'Reilly, the angle is tight, he's knocked it square, and Haaland has a hat-trick. Liverpool are being utterly dismantled. Yet another Erling Haaland hat-trick. He's only 25, the 28th hat-trick of his career.
Good flick down the middle by Malo Gusto. João Pedro here, 2 defenders between him and the goal. Back to Malo Gusto, low shot, good save, Palmer tucks it in, right on cue, and that is surely that. Alejandro Garnacho, hands on hips. This too really ram home Chelsea's advantage even further. Garnacho, deep breath, right-footed, scores. Goalkeeper goes the wrong way, and Garnacho makes it a magnificent 7 on the day for Chelsea. They're going to Wembley, seeing the Chelsea support, a regular destination for them in recent years.
Yeah, packed day of action so far in the FA Cup. 2 absolute thrashing to first coming from Manchester City. 4-0 winners over Liverpool. A hat-trick for Erling Haaland. Semenyo with the other goal. Let's hear from Liverpool boss Arne Slot now. He spoke to Talksport's Mickey Gray and had this to say on that huge defeat to Manchester City earlier.
It's very disappointing. The result even more. Losing 4-0. In a game like this is a big disappointment.
How do you assess the remainder of your season and what is still to play for now?
No, I think I've said many times there are 3 things to play for. That was FA Cup, Champions League and qualifying for the Champions League. Now, we've lost here today in the FA Cup. There now are 2 objectives to play for, and that's Champions League and qualifying for the Champions League.
And for yourself, you've got some very difficult games coming up towards the end of the season. We know Paris Saint-Germain is just round the corner as well, but is Champions League football next season a priority?
Yeah, that's what I just said. But first of all, now we go to Paris and we have to react. We have to react to this defeat. We know how good of a team City is. We knew how good of a team Paris Saint-Germain is. But as you said, for the first 35 minutes, we were very competitive today. But after conceding a goal, we weren't competitive anymore. And that's something we have to do better if we concede a goal in Paris.
Manchester City assistant manager Pep Lijnders also spoke to Talksport's Mickey Gray after the match, where he had this to say on their thumping win.
The boys did an unbelievable job today. First 20 minutes, I think we were we were not closing the centre well enough defensively. They could find, we changed a little bit there. The moment then we start controlling the game, but our plan was always clear, and a big compliment to the guys to grow into the game, become bad on the right moments, score the goals, and that took the game to our hand. Yeah.
Was it ever a concern after winning the Carabao Cup final and not playing for 12 days and not seeing most of the players? Did you expect a performance like that?
I didn't see a lot of good games after international breaks, to be honest, even in the last 10 years. So it's not easy, especially with the 12:45 kickoff. You cannot train. The boys come back from all different places where a coach says all different things to the guys. So we tried to use 2 days to really train our way, to show who we are and what we want to do. And beginning was a little bit rusty, losing a few simple balls as well. But with time we grew. We could find Bernardo, we could find Rodri free to commit, and especially when we controlled the press better, we were good.
That result means that Man City are one game away from their fourth successive FA Cup final. They were runners-up, of course, to Crystal Palace last season. That hat-trick for Haaland, by the way, means he's got 33 goals in 44 games for Manchester City this season, and apparently he's been off the boil. Salah missed a penalty in that game too. It was saved by James Trafford, and Liverpool have now lost 15 matches across all competitions this season, their most defeats in a single season since 2014-15, when they lost 18 under Brendan Rodgers. There were Liverpool fans who left after an hour, and well, you heard there in that interview with Mickey Gray that Arne Slot says it's all about the Champions League. That game will be live against the European champions away in Paris. PSG against Liverpool on Wednesday night, live on Talksport. It's an 8 o'clock kickoff for that Champions League quarter-final first leg. Adrian Durham will be there for us with commentary from Jim Proudfoot and the former England captain Stuart Pearce. And by the way, Liverpool legend Steven Gerrard will join the Talksport breakfast show on Tuesday morning from 6 o'clock, so don't miss that. Elsewhere, Chelsea battered League One Port Vale. It finished 7-0 in the end. Let's hear from the Chelsea manager Liam Rosenior, who's been speaking with Talksport's Joe Shannon after that big win.
Liam, well done. And what did you make of the performance, first of all, today?
Yeah, really professional, really good application in the intensity of the group, and gave us the platform to go and play some really good football. And yeah, we need to make sure that continues from now to the rest of the season.
Was it near enough as perfect a 90 minutes as you could probably have imagined overall?
Yeah, these games are really difficult. You're overwhelming favourites at home in an FA Cup quarter final. I felt our defending set plays, our defending long throws, the fundamentals of the game were very good. And then when we did get into attacking areas, we were very clinical today. But that's a great thing for today, but it needs to continue in any upcoming games.
And did you enjoy the hunger and the ruthlessness in that second half that your group showed today?
Yeah, of course. That's what you want in your team. You want the team to keep pushing. I felt the substitutes made a really good impact, and that needs to continue.
You've talked about it having been a tough week, of course, in the lead-up. How important was it to create some positivity and bring some momentum back today?
Yeah, we're here for the football, and we want to make people happy, not off the pitch. We want to make people happy by what they see on the pitch, and I was delighted with the application of the players actually in the 2 days leading up to this game when they came back from international duty, and now we've got a really important week on the training ground to prepare for a huge game against Manchester City.
And just one last one from me. I know you've played at Wembley as a player before. What will it mean to step out as a manager and the manager of Chelsea in a semi-final?
That's why I'm here. That's what this club demands. It's not about me. My job, I'm not thinking about that. We'll think about that when we get there. My job now is to focus on Manchester City.
Chelsea big winners then in their quarter-final, and they will be at Wembley for the semis. Arsenal have come out early here for the second half at St Mary's. They trail by a 1-0. Ross Stewart with the only goal so far, as Southampton also make their way out. Just before I hand back over, Perry Groves, your summariser for tonight's game. I want to ask you about Ben White, because there was a few questions about him being called up into the England squad ahead of Trent Alexander-Arnold. He gave away a penalty in the game against Uruguay, the first friendly. He's made a mistake tonight. is it the case that Trent Alexander-Arnold might be sitting there improving as a player day by day because he hasn't been picked for that squad?
No, because it's already been made very, very clear by Thomas Tuchel that he doesn't fancy Trent Alexander-Arnold. He doesn't fancy him defensively. I know a lot of people said, well, we could give you something off the bench, come on creative. England have enough creative players going forward anyway. You're not going to chuck a right back on to try and create you something. And if you get into the quarterfinals, semi-finals, which I hope England do, then I think he's worried about Trent's defensive qualities, but Ben White hasn't covered himself in glory because he's been at fault for the goal tonight.
OK, teams back out for this quarter-final. Southampton in front. Let's hand back over to your commentary team, Perry Groves, alongside your match commentator, Alex Cripp.
And no changes in personnel for this second half, which is not a surprise from a Southampton perspective, but I wonder if Arsenal fans here at St Mary's and listening around the world may have anticipated some kind of movement, as we are back off and underway. Southampton leading by that Ross Stewart goal to nil in their yellow jerseys, blue shorts and yellow socks, shooting from right to left in this second period. Arsenal in their traditional red jerseys with the white sleeves, white shorts and red socks, shooting from left to right. So the two teams in full then. Southampton with Peretz in goal, Bree, Harwood-Bellis, Wood and Manning, Bragg and Yanda, the holding midfield pair, with Fellows, Azaz and Cienza has been excellent behind the goal scorer Stewart up front. For Arsenal, Kepper in goal, White, Gabriel, Mosquera and Lewis Skelly in defence, Norgard and Ødegaard the captain in midfield, and then Martinelli, Havertz and Dowman supporting Jesus, the lone striker. And here is Dowman, the youngest player in Arsenal's history to play in the FA Cup when he made his debut against Mansfield in the last round. They have had one or two scares along the way to the quarter-finals, conceded first along the coast at Portsmouth in round 3 before winning pretty handsomely in the end. Were given a real fright on that cabbage patch pitch of Mansfield, and well, they're behind here, Perry, by a goal to nil. What do you want to see from your old club in this second half to get back in the game?
Burst those balloons. I don't know about you, Cookie, they're getting right on my nerves. Whoever's brought them in should be banned for life. But Arsenal gave the ball away too cheaply in the first half when they weren't under pressure, and that encouraged Southampton obviously to spring on them in transition. So they haven't been as fluid as what they normally are in possession. Martin Ødegaard started to dominate for sort of 10-15 minutes in that first half, getting himself on the ball now. It's just whether with Southampton can they keep their energy levels up, because they were absolutely at their best on the intenseness that they had when they're out of possession, but that's very, very difficult to keep going for 90 minutes.
Southampton 1, Arsenal 0. The noise levels not quite as loud as they were at the end of that first half after Stewart had scored. One or two of the home supporters just taking their seats back for this second half. I think Tom de Rekker would have been saying to his players, just maintain this intensity, keep hassling and harrying the Arsenal backline. I was speaking to a couple of regular Arsenal reporters in the press room at half-time. We all agreed that we'd not seen Gabriel bullied as much as he was by Ross Stewart in that first half, probably at any point in his Arsenal career.
Yeah, well, to be fair, I thought Gabriel had two fantastic last-ditch tackles, didn't he, in the first half, and it was mainly that Ross Stewart was going on to Mosquera, and we saw he scored his goal because it was very clever forward play, just getting himself onto the far post and Ben White run underneath the ball. So I think he's actually given both the centre-halves, a lot of trouble, but I'd say he was more on Mosquera, the one that he was pulling himself onto.
Mikel Arteta absolutely raging here because Ben White has been penalised for a foul on Cienza. I'm not really too sure what he's complaining about. He grabbed him by the left arm, he was tugging on the Brazilian shirt as well, and Southampton have a free kick just inside the Arsenal half of the field. 1-0 to the Saints. We've played 3 minutes of this second half, and Harwood-Bellis, who certainly knows where the back of the net is, and Nathan Wood, making his 50th Southampton appearance, have been summoned forward as Ryan Manning, the left back, prepares to send this towards the penalty area. Manning with the delivery to the edge of the box, headed back towards his own goal by Norgard and kept in, or actually just allowed to run out in the end by Cienza. Takes the throw in quickly. Manning has stayed forward and is tussling with Dowman on the byline. Eager not to give away a foul, having already been yellow carded. Manning, and Dowman able to run it clear under pressure from Azaz. White down by the corner flag to Jesus, dropping very deep. Arsenal's lone striker, almost giving the ball away inside his own half, but in the end slides and pokes it forward to Ødegaard. Here comes Gabriel over the halfway line on that far touchline. Forward to Miles Lewis-Skelly, the England international. He's been fouled. Free kick for Arsenal in a promising position.
Yeah, it was really good play from Arsenal in the right back position initially from Max Dellman into Jesus, and Jesus just switching it out to Lewis-Skelly on that left-hand side. Just saw Fellows there just trying to get himself back. In the end, it was quite a cute foul, to be fair, Crookie, wasn't it? Because it looked like Lewis-Skelly was going to get away, and Fellows just tripped him up with his right foot. Free kick for Arsenal over in the inside left position.
This is Arsenal's 20th cup tie of the season. They've only lost one of the previous 19. That was the final against Manchester City in the League Cup 2 weeks ago, as Ødegaard swings in the free kick, and it's headed goalwards, but tamely into the arms of Peretz by Gabriel Jesus.
There's a poor delivery from Martin Ødegaard, just trying to help it into the 18-yard box, in between the 6-yard box and the penalty spot. In the end, he's just not put enough height on it. Enables Southampton just to defend their 18-yard box. Goes through to Peretz. He tries to play it out from the back. Arsenal get the little interception, and Southampton get their throw in the left-back position with Ryan Manning.
7 clean sheets for Daniel Peretz since that loan move from Bayern Munich. Does include a £7 million buy option at the end of the season. That may depend on whether Saints do get back in the Premier League. I'm sure he will have suitors elsewhere. Having had a real transformative effect on this team. Saints leading 1-0 with 6 minutes gone in the second half. Your third live FA Cup quarter-final commentary of the day, and we're at London Stadium tomorrow as West Ham take on Leeds in the last of the last 8 showdowns before the draw for the semi-finals. It's going to be very congested for Southampton at the back end of the season if they do win tonight. It means their penultimate league game of the season will have to be moved, as again Gabriel plays the ball straight out of play on that far side for a throw.
That all started, Crookie, because it was brilliant close down from Azaz. As soon as the ball went to Gabriel, obviously Azaz is playing level with Stewart when they're out of possession in that 4-4-2, what I said. Then as soon as it went to Gabriel, he made sure he sprinted a good 20-30 yards, engaged him. That made Gabriel have to speed up a little bit and just smashed it out of play.
Arsenal back in possession now with Mosquera, the Spaniard who made his international debut against Serbia during the break, one of the few Arsenal players who did link up with their countries. And now Jesus picking it up 15 yards inside the Saints half. Southampton 1, Arsenal 0. Ross Stewart with the goal late in the first half. At the moment, is going to cause the upset of the quarter-final weekend. Martinelli with a cross, though, looking for Ødegaard. Over his head comes to Dowman. Left-footed shot blocked behind by Manning. And Arsenal have their first quarter of the second half.
There's better play by Martinelli over the left-hand side. This time, gone on the outside of Fellows, just gets to the byline, just dinks it up to the far post, comes out to Max Dellman, gets his left foot volley away. Really good defensive play from Ryan Manning, putting his body on the line, which Southampton have done for the whole game. The defensive duties have been very, very good.
Corner that Martinelli rushes across the takeover on the far side. Only Ben White has stayed back for Arsenal, keeping a close eye on Cienza in case Southampton win the ball back and counter quickly as they did throughout that first period.
Do you know what? I like that, Crookie. I like it, when managers keep 1 and 2 players up, just, keeps you on your toes. You say Cienza is very, very quick. If they do manage to clear it, at least they have something that they can play off of.
Bit of a delay as this corner kick is about to be taken. There are 3 Arsenal shirts lining up at the far post. Gabriel is going to make a late run from the penalty spot. Peretz comes and punches away commandingly on the corner of the 6-yard box. Back out to Martinelli on that far side. Ødegaard is waiting on the edge of the area for the pullback. Martinelli decides to run into the box instead, and as he poked the cross into the 6-yard box, it again is cleared away and picked up by Bree. Then Azaz rather sloppy in possession. One back by Lewis-Skelly for Arsenal, out to the right-hand side. His pass is beyond Dowman. Big cheer from the home supporters. And Southampton have a throw, and Mikel Arteta has come right out of his technical area to try and fire up his team, I think.
good play initially by, again, Martinelli going on the outside of Fellows. Instead of just crossing it with his left foot, he cut back on his right foot. That gave Southampton a chance to clear it. Then Arsenal regained possession. Minus Lewis Skelly there, Crookie. He's under no pressure whatsoever. All he's got to do is roll it out to Max Down on the right-hand side. For some reason he decided to go with like a 5-iron. He's drilled the pass out of play.
Here's Azaz finding Cienza down the left-hand side from that needlessly conceded throw. Southampton on the attack now with Yanda. Turns away from Dowman. Content just to keep the ball here though, the home side with their 1-0 lead intact. It's back now with Harwood Bellis inside the centre circle. They know if they keep a clean sheet in this second half, Southampton, it will be them looking ahead to a Wembley semi-final in the FA Cup. And Arsenal, well, 2 weeks ago they were talking about a potential quadruple. If they don't get the equaliser here, there'll only be 2 trophies left to try and win. Cienza keeping the ball in play after a poor pass. Runs into Dowman. Southampton wanted a free kick, not given, but then a strong challenge by Bragg. And here's Cienza over the halfway line. Decent ball up to Fellows. Kepa, good starting position. He clears upfield, and Jesus is going to try and chase Nathan Wood, but Wood allows the ball just to trickle back to his goalkeeper, Perret. It stays 1-0 Southampton.
Yeah, it's unlucky from Cienza, just cutting him from this left-hand side. Fellows coming in to the right-hand side, just over-egged his pass a little bit, but good starting position from Kepa, managed to clear the ball. It went straight up the field, straight to Perret in Southampton's goal. Southampton, as they have done for most of this game, very comfortable possession, especially the 2 centre-halves, Wood and Harwood Bellis. Very, very composed, Crook, aren't they, when they're in possession?
I just wonder, I was speaking to Peter Rodrigues, Southampton's FA Cup winning captain earlier this week, 82 years young, but still got a vivid memory of going up those Wembley steps, the last skipper to collect the trophy from the Queen, and he felt Manchester United in that 76 final underestimated Southampton. In fact, Bobby Charlton went on TV and said United had won 6-0. Have Arsenal underestimated Southampton here, you wonder? As Yanda comes over the halfway line, Azaz ahead of him, Fellows to his right, Fellows looking for the cutback, hits Gabriel, goes behind for a corner.
Again, Arsenal stopping possession, Lewis Skelly giving the ball away, just rolls it out to that right-hand side to Azaz. Gabriel comes over, makes sure that he's got his arms down by his side as the cross comes in, gets the block on. I don't think Arsenal have underestimated Southampton, Crookie. I think Southampton have been excellent, where they've got in Arsenal's faces, they've been good in possession, and Arsenal have just been sloppy when they've had the ball themselves. So Southampton have made it like a battle and a fight game, which exactly, if you're Tondre Eghardt, that's what you want. You don't want Arsenal to be smooth in possession, and they haven't been. So I think it's more that Southampton, their levels have been very, very high, and Arsenal have just dropped below theirs. But I don't think, they've paid them a lack of respect or underestimated them.
Cienza with a corner, played short to Bragg on the edge of the penalty area. Back to the Brazilian Cienza again. Cienza with a cross, dangerous one along the 6-yard line, and flicked off the head of an Arsenal defender in Gabriel, and out for a throw on this near side. We know all about Arsenal when it comes to set pieces. Southampton have scored more goals from corners than any team in the Championship, and that was a neat training ground routine.
Exactly, yeah. Again, they've gone short, nice little short corner, rolled out to Cienza, just tried to whip the ball in with his right foot. In the end, it's Gabriel got the first contact. We see Mikel Arteta is going to make three big substitutions, which doesn't surprise me.
Yeah, we'll come to that in a moment, because Manning's got a cross into the penalty area, and it's headed over underneath his own crossbar by Mosquera, with Stewart ready to pounce for his second. Corner for the Saints, 1-0.
Again, it's a great ball in from Manning this time, getting on his right foot, just curling it in. Looks like it's a come to Stewart. To be fair to Mosquera, he just makes sure that he gets in front of him, gets the contact first, come off the top of his head, goes over the crossbar. Corner for Southampton over on their right-hand side.
Yeah, that triple change. Gyökeres, Madueke, who's made a miracle recovery from injury, and Calafiori. Next time there's a stoppage in play, but first and foremost, they have a corner to defend. Arsenal trailing by a goal to nil, and we've almost reached the hour mark on Talksport. They're trying to crowd Kepa, keeping Penn back on his goal line. The corner is whipped in from that far side, headed up but not really away. Martinelli completes the clearance, stooping header by Yanda, and the ball bounces kindly into the arms of Kepa, who immediately bowls it out to Ødegaard in the centre of the Arsenal half. Havertz in the left wing position may well be a contender to come off potentially, and he made very little impact in the game, the German. You can say that about a lot of the Arsenal players, in truth. We have possession now with Lewis Skelly. Here's Mosquera, right in the centre of the Arsenal half, away to our left. The Gunners trailing by a goal to nil. At the moment, it is the Championship Saints who are heading for a Wembley semi-final in the FA Cup. And it's given away by Mosquera, passed to Fellows. Fellows into the penalty area, shoots over the bar, and he had support with Azaz. He saw his name in lights, I think, Fellows, after seizing on the stray pass by Mosquera, and he's blazed it into the fans away to our left-hand side.
Crookie, that is so poor from Mosquera, under no pressure whatsoever. He's trying to roll it to his centre-half partner, Gabriel. Just gives it straight to Fellows. Gabriel just makes sure that he backs off. Fellows goes onto his right foot, should be hitting the target, ends up going over the crossbar. But if there was one little passage of play that summed Arsenal up in this whole game, for this first hour, that was it, when Mosquera just gives the ball away needlessly. Really shocking play from Mosquera.
Triple change for Arsenal. Gyökeres replacing Jesus. Madueke on for Ødegaard, presumably. He was only fit enough to play for an hour. And Calafiori on for Miles Lewis Skelly at left back. So the big guns have been called upon by the Gunners. Gyökeres scored a huge goal for his country in midweek to book Sweden's place at the World Cup. Can the visitors' top scorer come up with another here in the final half an hour? Arsenal a goal behind the St Mary's in this FA Cup quarter-final on Talksport. White with the ball chipped forward towards halfway. Gyökeres beaten in the air by Harwood Bellis, and here is Wood now, back to his goalkeeper Peretz. Peretz with the left-footed ball upfield that was almost intercepted, found Stewart in the end, and then Yander there ahead of Mosquera, and Cienza is running at Ben White down the Southampton left. Cienza into the penalty area, right-footed effort, hits the top of the crossbar and behind. Oh, they were inches away from going 2-0 up Southampton, and Cienza absolutely roasted Ben White again.
Brilliant play from Cienza, just picking the ball up on that left-hand side. Just first of all he gets inside Ben White, then Ben White gets back goal side. Ben White's got to get closer, just drops his shoulder, cuts inside with his right foot. He's trying to bend it in Kepa's top left-hand corner, just comes off the top of the crossbar. Arsenal get away with one there. Brilliant effort from Cienza. Within inches there of going 2-0 up.
How big a moment in this quarter-final tie could that be, because the goalkeeper was beaten all ends up, and the frame of the goal away to our left is still reverberating. You know, my big question with Cienza, where's he been? He's 27, Cienza. They signed him from Hoffenheim for £8 million. How is he not playing in the top European league already?
Just a late developer, Crookie, that's what it is.
Here's Dowman, certainly not a late developer, into the Southampton penalty area, onto his left foot, Dowman. Again, Yander couldn't risk diving in. Cross comes from Martinelli. Martinelli with a shot, left-footed over the bar, and a big cheer goes up amongst the home fans again.
Yeah, Max Dowman just trying to get it onto his left foot. Maybe should have took the chance earlier on his right foot. Just checks back, rolls it to Martinelli, and in the end, as the ball just sits up, then he ends up handballing it. Sam Barrett, the referee, quite rightly, was going to give the handball anyway, and then Martinelli just smashed the ball over the crossbar.
Yeah, frustrating afternoon for Gabriel Martinelli. All 4 of his career FA Cup goals have come this season, but so far he has been unable to breach this resolute Southampton defence. The atmosphere still crackling inside St Mary's. Tom de Rekker, the rookie Southampton boss when he was appointed, just 33 years of age, stands confidently, hands in pockets on the edge of the technical area. He is less than half an hour away from the biggest win of his career. Here's Azaz over on the right hand side for Southampton. Plenty forward in yellow and blue. Everybody in Arsenal red back behind the ball. Those stray balloons, you know, are still causing issues, as Nathan Wood picks it up on the edge of the centre circle. They've been maybe a little bit more conservative, Southampton, this second half, not bursting forward in quite the same way as they were in the first.
Yeah, they're not crooked, but they're always a threat. They're always a threat, especially in the wide areas, with Cienza up against Ben White on the left-hand side. Fellows obviously now gone over to that right-hand side. Just looking at Arsenal, Madueke coming out on the right of the three up front, and then Max Dowman just got a little bit more central.
Zaz wanted a free kick high up the field. The referee says no, and Ben White plays it forward to the blue-booted Madueke. He's got Dowman, Gyökeres and Martinelli in support as he races towards the penalty area. Madueke away from Wood, goes down under the challenge, and a big high five for the centre-back from his goalkeeper Peretz, because he was beaten for pace there, Nathan Wood, but he stuck to the task and just forced Madueke in the end to run the ball out of play.
Yeah, it's got on the outside of him. That's where Madueke wants Nathan Wood 1v1, tries to go on the outside, just pushes the ball a little bit too far. Nathan Wood was really clever actually, because he just, with his right shoulder, manages to knock Madueke off balance, just tripped himself up. Quite rightly, Sam Barrett, referee, says nothing to see here. Again, really good defending from Southampton when they find themselves in those 1v1 situations.
We've got Arsenal's next game away from home in the Champions League, first leg of their quarter-final at Sporting, live on Talksport on Tuesday night. Wednesday we're in Paris with Liverpool as Ross Stewart, the goal scorer, picks up possession on the edge of the Arsenal area. It's a header across the 6-yard line by Gabriel to get that cross clear. Cienza's won it back. Good persistence from the South American, and now Nathan Wood will take over on the edge of the centre circle. 66 gone, Southampton 1, Arsenal 0. Ross Stewart's goal 8 minutes before half-time, still separating the two teams.
Yeah, just a little example there of how Southampton have been snapping into the tackles, and they've won all the 50-50 battles, you know, and they've won their personal battles as well. As the ball bounced out of the air there, it comes to Max Dowman.
Oh, but it's Southampton who've given it away with Howard Bellis. Seized upon by Dowman. Dowman on the edge of the penalty area, could have gone for goal himself. Tried to play in Gyökeres, pass was behind the big striker. And Southampton able to get it clear. Cienza gets a push in the back by White. Free kick, and what looked like a decent opportunity for Arsenal to get a shot away. In the end comes to nothing.
Yeah, Max Dowman picking the ball up exactly where he wants it in that 10 position. Just cutting in on his left foot. I thought he was going to get his left-footed shot away. Tries to reverse the pass to Gyökeres, actually just plays it behind him. Then the ball comes into Cienza, and Ben White, you can tell how rattled Arsenal at the moment, because when the ball comes into Cienza, he's going nowhere. He's facing his own goal. Ben White just pushes it back with both his hands, goes to the floor, gives a cheap free kick away. Southampton then just get regrouped, and then Peretz just couldn't fire it up pitch.
You're listening to FA Cup Game Day on Talksport with McDonald's. Order delivery on the McDonald's app as Dowman is looking to create an opportunity again, outmuscling a couple of Southampton defenders, finding Madueke inside the penalty area. Madueke cuts it back for Dowman, but again they smash it away. They've been so switched on defensively, Southampton. You have to be absolutely zoned in when you come up against this Arsenal team, as the away fans find their voices. Ball played into the penalty area. Havertz has got in behind, cuts it back. Gyökeres 1-1. Victor Gyökeres off the bench to level for the Gunners. He was the Sweden hero in midweek, and he may just have saved Arsenal from crashing out of the FA Cup.
That's a brilliant ball in from Gabriel initially into Kai Havertz. Kai Havertz gets himself to the byline. It looks like he's going to pull it back onto his right foot to try and roll it under Peretz, but then he's very cool, very calm, just takes his time, sees that Gyökeres is inside him. Just brilliant play initially from Gabriel and from Kai Havertz. Rolls it back to Gyökeres. Gyökeres lets it run across his body, and with his right foot he side foots it into an empty net. And you can hear the Arsenal fans singing over on our left-hand side. Actually got something to chant about. Get themselves back to this game. 1-1 here at St Mary's against Southampton.
17 goals for the season for Victor Gyökeres. And when they really needed someone to come up with a big moment in this quarter-final, the giant Swede has delivered. 22 minutes for Mikel Arteta's side to find a winner. Oh, we'll be going to extra time and potentially penalties. Southampton lining up a double change. Kyle Larin, the Canadian striker, is coming on, and so too is Samuel Edozie, the former Manchester City winger. As the Arsenal fans serenade their goal scorer Gyökeres. These feel like crunch minutes now for Southampton, having led 1-0, seen that lead wiped away. Here's Havertz in the right wing position. He played a big part in the goal. So did Calafiori, by the way, with the run that he made. He actually went into an offside position, didn't make an attempt to play the ball, and that allowed Havertz to ghost in behind.
Also, it was a brilliant ball in from Gabriel. You know, we said about the Southampton centre-halves being really good on the ball. Exactly what Gabriel did there. Just freed Kai Havertz up, and it was Kai Havertz just had to make sure he, kept his cool, kept his composure. Exactly what it is to pull it back to Gyökeres.
Ross Stewart with a switch of play. One back by Martinelli on the slide. Suddenly all the noise inside St Mary's is being generated by those 4,000 or so travelling Arsenal fans as Yanda bundles over Dowman. It's going to be a free kick, and here come the Saints changes. Ross Stewart, the goal scorer, replaced by Larin. He gets a standing ovation from these home supporters, and Samuel Edozie is coming on for Leo Cienza. I think the Arsenal defence will be relieved to see the back of him.
Yeah, very much so, because he had Ben White's number in his first 70 minutes. I think Ben White will be relieved that he's gone off Cookie as well, to be fair. So just like for like substitution from Tondehega, the Southampton manager. Larin obviously will go up front, and Dozie will come on this left-hand side.
Yeah, Larin left out the starting lineup because he did a lot of travelling with Canada during the international break. I guess there was a good argument for Ross Stewart to start anyway, bearing in mind he got the winner at Fulham in the previous round. Meanwhile, Gabriel has gone down inside the centre circle, and it looks like his afternoon is over. And this was one of your big concerns, Perry, when the team sheets were handed in. You said on air, I'm not sure I would have started Gabriel tonight, and he does seem to have picked up an injury.
Yeah, just seems like his left knee. The Arsenal physio's obviously come on at the moment. Saliba's going to come on and replace him. And obviously the Arsenal fans are hoping that they're just doing it because they don't want to take any chances with him.
I mean, neither manager is going to want extra time, are they? With Arsenal and Lisbon in the Champions League on Tuesday, Southampton against Wrexham live on Talksport 2 the same night, and a massive game between two of the playoff contenders. It should set up for a barnstorming last 20 minutes, as if this quarter-final's not been good enough already.
This has been what the FA Cup is all about, Crookie. Obviously, one of the big teams coming down here at St Mary's. Southampton in really, really good form. So Gabriel is going to be obviously coming off. He'll give the captain's armband to Saliba. Just hope it's precautionary. He doesn't look like he's too upset, Crookie, to be fair, does he? He doesn't look like he's in a lot of pain.
Well, William Saliba, who was among those who pulled out of duty for France during the international break, coming on for the final 18 minutes plus stoppage time and maybe extra time, and Arsenal fans will be hoping that Gabriel can shrug off whatever knock he's picked up and be fit for the trip to Portugal. I think he is going to sit down on the bench rather than head back to the dressing rooms. That would suggest, as you say, Perry, it's more precautionary than anything else.
Well, he didn't look in too much distress, Cookie, did he, as he was coming off?
Well, Arsenal was certainly in distress at half-time, trailing 1-0 to that Ross Stewart goal, but Victor Gyökeres there, big money summer signing off the bench to equalise after clever play between Gabriel and Havertz to create the opportunity. I think a lot of players in Havertz's situation would have gone for goal themselves from a tight angle, but he had the mindset to pull it back for Gyökeres, knowing he was in a better position. Here's Martinelli, left corner of the penalty area, dispossessed by Bree. Southampton fans are approving of that challenge inside their own box, and Bree now with the opportunity to clear up towards halfway. It's all Arsenal in the last few minutes of this game since that Gyökeres equaliser. But here's Edozie with a fresh legs. Manning has made a darting run to his left. Larin and Azaz wait in the centre. Manning into Azaz, who had that golden opportunity at 1-0 when he blazed over the crossbar. Looks a promising attack this though for Southampton. Cross over the head of Larin towards the far post and chested behind by White with Edozie lurking. Corner for the Saints.
Really good play from Fellows over on that right-hand side. Going on the outside of Calafiori, got himself to the byline, and what you do is when you get to the byline you just dink it up to the far post. Exactly what he did. I think Larin actually should be coming to the far post. Crookie's gone to the near post. In the end, Ben White was relieved when it come off his thigh. Corner for Southampton on their left-hand side.
James Bree to deliver. Southampton, who scored plenty of goals from corners during their championship campaign. Looking to get their noses back in front here on Talksport. 1-1 with 74 minutes on the clock on the scoreboard away to our left. Bree with the delivery. Whip towards the far post. Kepa came and just about enough on it, and it's cleared upfield by Madueke in the left-back position.
Yeah, it wasn't particularly convincing there, was it, Crookie, to be fair, from Kepa? He just looked like he'd been shot out of a cannon and just gets a big left palm for it as a sigh of relief, because it actually drops to Madueke, who tries to release Martinelli down the left-hand side. Southampton managed to get them their numbers back, put it out for throwing, but Arsenal can get themselves back in possession.
A reminder of the big stories elsewhere today. Liverpool hammered 4-0 at Manchester City. Live on Talksport in their FA Cup quarter-final. Mo Salah missing a penalty in his final game at the Etihad. Chelsea put 7 past League One Port Vale to book their place in the semis, and Rangers, big win for them in the Scottish Premiership to go top of the table, at least until Hearts play tomorrow. Here at St Mary's, it's 1-1, all to play for in the final 15 minutes. And don't forget, we're going to be at the London Stadium on Easter Sunday, 4:30 kick-off between West Ham United and Leeds, as Southampton make another change, their latest alteration. Shay Childs replacing Cameron Bragg. Shay Childs on international duty for Northern Ireland during the international break. I thought he had a really good first half, Bragg, not really able to dictate the pace of the game quite as much since half-time. Yeah,
he was between the wars in the first and the second half, to be fair, but Bragg had a good partnership with Yanda. You said there, they just given that bit of solidity in that centre midfield area. Just again, a like for like, fresh legs coming on. Shay Charles will just slide into that midfield area, obviously full of confidence. Crookie after the worldie that he got against Oxford, which is, I reckon, is going to be the championship goal of the season. Yeah, we're going to be at the EFL Awards in a couple of weeks' time, and Shay Charles must be in with a big shout, that is for sure. And it's still the Arsenal fans now who are generating the bulk of the atmosphere. Southampton fans have been absolutely terrific, but that goal from Gyökeres has just dampened their spirits. Although whatever happens in the final 15 minutes here, they're going to take a lot of confidence heading into their final league game of the season, knowing they've gone toe-to-toe with a team sat at the top of the Premier League. Yeah, just look at Southampton, because they've got the fresh legs on. Obviously, Larin up front. Just gone in like their 4-4-2 again, with Azaz again going level with Larin. So Southampton haven't dropped deep, obviously, when Arsenal have been in possession. Saliba with a long ball forward, picked up by Havertz on the edge of the penalty area, forced wide, down by the right corner flag, and excellent defending by Manning, but then he gives the ball away to Madueke, and he's run it out of touch. A goal kick for the Saints, 1-1. Yeah, it's the second time that Madueke has found himself in a really good position on that right-hand side. Manning giving the ball away, just trying to go maybe that sort of one dribble too much, where he should be getting across him with his left foot initially. Looks like Martin Zubamendi has just been asked to get ready to come on for the final 12 minutes plus stoppage time. You know, it's been a brilliant game when you don't open the jelly babies that Perry Groves has kindly brought along. I'll save them for the journey home now, I think. Whatever time that'll be. Well, to be fair, Crookie, we normally have the jelly babies for the sugar rush, don't we? Like halfway through the second, we haven't needed it because our adrenaline's been up for this whole 77 minutes, because it's been an absolute enthralling game, and that is mainly down to Southampton. An epic FA Cup tie live on Talksport as Ben White gives away a free kick for a foul on the Dozy. 5 yards or so inside the Saints half, away to our right. Tom Derecker, with his side leading 1-0, was on course to become the first Southampton manager since our own Alan Pardew to win their first 4 FA Cup ties. That does come with a caveat that they were a League One side then, so they entered the competition much earlier. As Kai Havertz sees his number come up and trots across to the touchline to be replaced by Zubamendi. Yeah, I think that's just managing Kai Havertz's minutes. Obviously been out for a while himself with injury, just coming back. Just showed his composure and his coolness, setting up Gyökeres for the equalising goal. So it'll be interesting to see where I see Zubamendi will drop in, probably alongside Norgard, just a little bit deeper. It does feel like quite a defensive change though, at 1-1. Well, I think what happens, Crookie, is you put on Zubimendi to try and give you a little bit more control of the ball.
They have possession here, Arsenal, but well inside their own half. Saliba, the substitute, goes back to his goalkeeper, Aretha Balaga. Now Mosquera slowly trots towards halfway.
Again, you've got to credit Southampton, Crookie, because they're not dropping deep. Again, they're pushing on. I said before, with Aziz and Larin making sure they engage the ball initially, not dropping too deep, and the shape is very good.
Oh, Yander's won it back from Dauman. Larin's made a burst ahead of him. He needed a better pass there. Larin very frustrated, because had he just slotted it through, the Canadian would have had a one-on-one potentially with the goalkeeper.
Yeah, it's Max Dauman getting himself caught in possession. So they come to Manning. All he's got to do is just put a better ball through to Larin, just again overhits it. That enables Saliba to come back and just negate the danger.
Southampton have been to 2 FA Cup semi-finals since losing in Cardiff in 2003 to Arsenal. Robert Pires with the only goal. They need a second here in order to get that dream of a place in the Final Four roaring again. Their home fans have found their voice once more. Here is William Saliba, though. Arsenal dictating the pace of the game since that equaliser from Gyökeres, cancelling out Ross Stewart's first half opener. Saliba the ball, looking to slide it through to White. He's committed upfield here, so they've got the man advantage, but Azaz dispossessed by Norgard in midfield. He's back now with Martin Zubimendi, who's almost dropped in as a third centre-back momentarily after Calafiori and White have been sent bombing on. Calafiori now up over halfway.
You see Calafiori coming in that inverted left-back position, try and create the overload in midfield. Martinelli coming in from that left-hand side.
And White down the right-hand side, chipping the ball forward for Madueke. Manning was hoping, I think, it would go out of play for a goal kick, but it was never going to carry. Steered up towards Larin, but one in the air by the diminutive Zubimendi, and back now with William Saliba in the bright yellow footwear. 1-1 the score. We've got 8 minutes of normal time to play on Talksport. Zubimendi inside the centre circle. Plenty of red shirts committed forward. Saliba back to Zubimendi again. Southampton with everybody in yellow camped inside their own half, looking to defend this 1-1 score. Dauman shielding the ball under pressure from Yander, and then playing it forward to Martinelli. Stepping in was Harwood Bellis, as facing his own goal under pressure from Mosquera, is able to clear and able to release Adozi down the right-hand side. That's a really good ball. Larin has run into an offside position, so Adozi just has to hold it up on that far touchline. He's got more yellow shirts up in support now. Fellows coming on his left foot from the right-hand side, but forced back towards halfway, and Wood. I wonder if they could have got the ball forward to Larin a bit earlier there before he'd strayed beyond the last Arsenal man. They've gone all the way back now to Harwood Bellis inside the centre circle.
Yes, a little bit of frustration. Southampton fans had a really good situation on that right-hand side with Adozi. Looked like he was going to get himself 1v1 with Calafiori, ended up cutting inside, give it to Fellows. He comes further inside. Arsenal then can get their players back and get themselves in possession.
Zaz there looking to just poke the ball forward to Manning. Got the pass all wrong, looks up to the heavens in frustration, and Arsenal have it back with Zubimendi, with the teams locked at 1-1. Yander snapping away at Norgard, so it's picked up by Zubimendi again. Forward to Dauman. Dauman's got Madueke on the overlap. Madueke now with a chance to run at Shea Charles maybe, instead comes infield to Norgard. Here's Dauman, left-footed shot towards the corner. Sensational save by Peretz.
Brilliant
Flings
save.
himself to the right-hand side, turns it behind for a corner.
It looked like Max Dauman was going to be on the end of another worldie there, just cutting in from that right-hand side onto his left foot. He's trying to bend it inside Perez's right-hand post. Just a brilliant save for Perez. Full length, gets both of his hands to it, managed to tip it past the post. Again, that's just Southampton dropping a little bit too deep. No one coming to close Max Dauman down. So just coming up with 6.5 minutes of normal time to play, Crookie, and it's which team can craft that chance, that little bit of magic to get them through into the FA Cup semi-finals.
And that's a couple of big saves now by Peretz. Erdegaard in the first half and Dauman late in the second. Arsenal, not for the first time this evening, have taken the short corner. Played to Madueke, 7 or 8 yards outside the penalty area. Shooting chance from Martinelli, wide of the right-hand post and behind for a goal kick.
Yeah, it's really well worked from Arsenal from their left-hand side on the corner again, just going short. It just comes out to Madueke, who's spare on the edge of the box. Martinelli just makes his run back across the 18-yard box, gets it onto his right foot. He should be hitting the target. In the end, it goes a good yard wide of Perez's right-hand post.
Southampton 1, Arsenal 1, live on Talksport on FA Cup quarter-final Saturday. 5 minutes plus stoppage time before we head into extra time. I actually wouldn't mind another half an hour of this, you know. Larin into Charles forward to Azaz, little poke to his right-hand side, and an opportunity for Fellows to come into the penalty area. Charles with a shot! Southampton lead again! And that may well be the goal that takes the Saints into the semi-finals. Not as spectacular as the one he got against Oxford, but my word, even more important. Southampton 2, Arsenal 1, upset back on at St Mary's.
Crookie, that is a magnificent finish from Shay Charles. He just kept his cool with his right foot. As it come to him, he just swept it across his body. Just give Kepler no chance. Low down to his right-hand side. Really good play. Build up from Fellows on the right-hand side. Just rolls it into Shay Charles. Takes a touch of his left foot with his right foot. Just sweeps past Kepler. Brilliant play from Southampton down their right-hand side. Brilliant finish from Shay Charles. Does that put Southampton into the FA Cup semi-finals? They've been excellent here at St Mary's here today against Arsenal. Brilliantly crafted goal. Brilliant substitution from Tonda Hegar, because Shay Charles, you want your finishers, and Crookie, that was a brilliant finish.
And Arsenal only have 4 minutes plus added time to save themselves. The treble dream is hanging by the thinnest of threads. And what a moment for Shay Charles. What a moment for everybody, barring those travelling Arsenal fans inside St Mary's. What a moment for the FA Cup. Hey, Sarah, Sarah. The Southampton fans are singing. But I tell you what, these final 3 minutes plus added on time are going to feel like a lifetime, aren't they, for Tom the Wrecker and his players.
Cookie, you know what we said? Which of the two teams would have that bit of magic, that bit of craft? Fellows done brilliantly on the right-hand side initially, just cuts in, no one picks him up, but it's a great touch from Charles with his left foot, gets it out his feet, and his right foot finish was absolutely sublime.
And how big that save from Peretz to keep out Dowman now. Madueke on the edge of the penalty area. Southampton sat so deep they're almost in the river itching, those yellow-shirted players. Calafiori with a cross into the area, flicked on by Zubamendi, cleared up towards Larin, but stooping header by Mosquera and then volleyed upfield by Childs. Bounces off the head of Larin and collected by Zubamendi midway inside Southampton territory. Here's Martinelli, guides the ball out to his left and Gyökeres, 88 on the clock. Arsenal 2-1 down in this FA Cup quarter-final. Martinelli into the penalty area. Zubamendi rolls it back to Norgard, 5 yards outside the box. Martinelli into the area once more. His cross blocked by Bree, who stops the ball going out for a corner and then nods it out of play for a throw on the far side. And they're on their feet around us in the press area again.
You can hear every single challenge now from Southampton. Every block they get is be celebrated if they've scored a goal. Just see there Martinelli just trying to whip the ball in with his right foot. Massive cheer because it goes straight down the throat of Peretz in Southampton's goal, who launches up the pitch to see if he can get his Southampton teammates as high up pitch as possible so they don't drop too deep.
And they just need to keep possession here. Southampton, Tom the Wrecker trying to give us the impression he's the calmest man inside St Mary's. I'm sure he'll be bubbling under beneath that composed exterior. His team minutes away from an almighty FA Cup shock and a place at Wembley. Of course, they'll hope to be back there in the playoff final come May. 31,067. inside the stadium tonight. They've been royally entertained. Dowman skipping away for a couple of challenges, and then he's brought down by Yanda. That will almost certainly be a yellow card. It is, and it's a free kick for Arsenal round about 28 yards out.
We just saw the glimpse of the brilliance of Max Dowman there, Crookie, because he's got 3 Southampton players around him, lets the ball just roll across his body, just wiggles away, gets goal side of Yanda. Yanda then has a panic up, just drags him down with his right foot. Quite rightly, Sam Barrett, referee, gives Yanda a yellow card. It's a free kick for Arsenal in the centre of the pitch. 30 yards out, probably a little bit too straight. Southampton are going to put a 3-man wall up on the edge of the D.
How many added minutes, Perry?
5.
Could be 5 minutes for Southampton to hold on and Arsenal to save their FA Cup skins. A competition they've not won since 2020. In fact, since Mikel Arteta lifted his only silverware as Arsenal manager, 9 English teams have gone on to win a trophy. 6 added minutes is the answer. We're into the first of them now.
Southampton fans ain't happy, obviously, because they know this could be a long 6 minutes. It's whether their team can actually see it out, because they've defended brilliantly for the whole game.
I think Gyökeres is going to hit this from 30 yards, you know, and he slammed it straight into the wall. I mean, to say that was ambitious is an understatement. Another big cheerer up amongst the home fans of Ben White, almost caught in possession by Azaz, knocks it back to his goalkeeper Kepa, and he's passed it straight to Mikel Arteta, who looks distinctly unimpressed.
Well, that just shows you how rattled the Arsenal players are, because Ben White was a really poor back pass to Kepa. That was because he was under pressure from Azaz and from Larin. And Southampton have been absolutely relentless, Crookie. I thought that the energy levels might drop, but obviously the subs have come on and given him a lift. No more so than Shea Charles. It looks like he's going to get the winning goal.
The first of the 6 added minutes are up. Azaz has found Fellows. I think he'll be advised just ahead for the corner flag, Fellows, but he looks like he might be a bit more ambitious than that. Coming in on his left foot, trying to get into a shooting position. Dispossessed by Calafiori, and then Gyökeres releasing Martinelli. Wood, I think, thought about diving in with a challenge, but he allows Martinelli to keep going into the penalty area. Martinelli with a shot straight into the arms of Peretz at the near post. He collapses on top of the ball.
Yes, poor play from Fellows initially. He's on the right-hand side. He said he should be heading for the corner. Ends up giving the ball away. Comes to Martinelli on that left-hand side. Just cuts in onto his right foot. Sort of telegraphs the shot. He uses Wood as the screen. Got to be starting the ball probably 2 or 3 yards outside that left-hand post.
It's a great ball by Zubamendi, though. Picking out Madueke into the penalty area. Left-footed shot. Drags it wide. Goal kick for Southampton. And Arsenal are 4 minutes away from going out of the FA Cup.
Yeah, another big chance there from Madueke. This time on the right-hand side, cuts inside Manning onto his left foot. He's trying to bend it inside Peretz's top right-hand corner. Gets his foot underneath the ball, scoops it over the crossbar. Peretz, quite rightly, is going to be in no hurry, Crookie, to take this goal kick. You can hear the Southampton fans screaming out when the Saints come marching in. And they've been marching all over this game today, Crookie, to be fair. 92.5 minutes. They've been absolutely outstanding.
And barring a late Arsenal equaliser, they'll be marching all the way to Wembley at an FA Cup semi-final on the last weekend of April. These are heady times for these Southampton fans who've certainly had their fair share of misery in recent seasons, relegated from the Premier League with a whimper, but in a good position now to get back there via the playoffs. And well, there's something tangible to claw onto. Free kick though for Arsenal, midway inside the Saints area. There's going to be a yellow card. Was that to Martinelli for something he said to the referee?
Yeah, I think Martinelli, bit of a frustration, just trying to get onto the ball quickly to a quick free kick.
It was Dowman who was brought down, but I think he actually pushed the referee, Martinelli. In fairness, it wasn't aggressive. He was just trying to get the game restarted.
He wanted to get him out the way, to get him off the ball. And Sam Barrett, the referee, said, hold on a minute, I'll decide when this game's going to restart, sunshine, and you can have a yellow card to boot.
Martinelli stands over the free kick. Arsenal need a goal in the final 2 minutes of stoppage time. Taken short to Ben White. Not sure the away fans are massively in favour of that. Downman trying to turn on the edge of the area. White to Madueke. Madueke with a cross to the far post. Should be dealt with by the Southampton defence. Calafiori balloons his effort over the crossbar. Another big roar goes up amongst the home supporters. They feel Perry Groves. They are so nearly over the winning line.
Yep, 2 minutes of added on time quickly to go. All the Southampton fans are hugging themselves. They can see a historical moment was within their grasp. Again, Peretz, the Southampton goalkeeper, no hurry to take the goal kick. Just getting the ball in the middle of the 6-yard box. Just make sure he's pushed all of his Southampton players up the pitch. He's just going to launch it onto the right-hand side and hopefully Southampton win the knockdown.
They're going to make another change here, Southampton, I think, just to try and waste a few seconds. Joshua Kwasi, the German defender, is ready to come on. At the moment, Larin is just tussling with Saliba, and he's played the ball out to Fellows on that right-hand side. Fellows into the penalty area. Drills his effort across the face of goal. It's turned behind by Kepa. It's going to be a corner for Southampton. We've got less than a minute of stoppage time to play.
Good play again from Fellows on that right-hand side. Just finding himself 1v1 with Calafiori. Calafiori doesn't get tight enough. Goes on the right, gets onto his right foot, smashes his shot. Decent save from Kepa at his near post. Corner for Southampton over on their right-hand side. Jay Charles has just...
He's just got to keep it, hasn't he? Larin has gone over for the short corner. There's one Southampton player inside the penalty area. That's a Dozy, and I think he knows this cross is not coming into it. 20 seconds of stoppage time to play. Ball has gone behind for a goal kick. Saints players not happy. They felt it should have been another corner, and they might get one last chance here, Arsenal, to go long upfield. Whistles from the home supporters. Nobody is leaving St Mary's early tonight. The 6 added minutes are pretty much done. The ball is with Ben White in the right back position for one final Arsenal attack. They're going to pick out the run of Gyökeres. Great play by Nathan Wood just to usher the ball behind. It'll be a goal kick for Southampton, and surely now they are heading for a Wembley semi-final in the FA Cup. This famous old competition is weaving its wonderful magic once again as Kwasi comes on just to try and run down the clock a bit more. Ryan Manning, who was walking that disciplinary tightrope, having been booked early in the first half, makes his way off to another standing ovation. And Kwasi on.
Again, Ryan Manning epitomises Southampton here tonight at St Mary's Cookie, where the back four have been absolutely outstanding. He said he got an early booking. He made sure he didn't make any more rash challenges, whether that's against Max Dellman or against Madueke. Defensively, he's been outstanding, as have Southampton.
Peretz launches the ball long, one in midfield by Norgard. We're into the 98th minute. Tom Barreca can't believe they're still playing the Southampton manager. Cross into the area, volleyed away by Yanda. Referee looks at his watch, blows for full time. And Arsenal are sent crashing from the FA Cup. Incredible scenes at the St Mary's Stadium, because those sensational Saints are heading for a Wembley semi-final. They've channeled the spirit of 1976 to dump out the Premier League leaders. Shea Charles off the bench with the winner. And the treble dream is over for Arsenal. It finishes Southampton 2, Arsenal 1.
The FA Cup has delivered at St Mary's. Southampton are heading to Wembley. There are fans on their feet as Que Sera booms around this stadium. Last season, these fans would have dreaded coming here. They've been given a night to remember for the ages. Just listen to that, an eruption of emotion at full time, because Southampton have booked a place in the FA Cup semi-finals. Shea Charles, the hero. Arsenal's treble charge is over. The Premier League leaders are out. And Southampton, who won this competition 50 years ago, are honouring that with some campaign this season. St Mary's has not seen scenes like this, Perry Groves, in a long time.
This is what the FA Cup does for you. Oh, we're talking about the magic of the FA Cup. This is what the FA Cup is made for. Upsets, great dreams, great memories. Exactly what's happened here for the Southampton fans here tonight at St Mary's. You have to say, this was thoroughly deserved from Southampton. They were the better side throughout the whole 90 minutes. They had energy, they were on the front foot. They completely sort of bamboozled Arsenal through the whole game because they were in their faces, they were closing down, they were excellent in transition, very, very quick in possession, and both goals they scored were absolute top quality. And Tom Eckhart put on Shea Charles, obviously, to try and get to control from the game in the midfield area. And you want your finishers and your impactors. Well, he had a massive impact, and his finish was even better because when he gets the ball from Fellows, who cuts in from that right-hand side, his first touch with his left foot is out of his feet, is perfect. His second touch is even better. With his right foot, he just whips it across his body, low down to Kepa's right-hand side, give him absolutely no chance. From Southampton 2-1 up. You have to say, Crookie, Arsenal didn't really create a chance after Shea Charles put Southampton in front. Defensively, they were outstanding. Harwood, Bennis and Wood, the two Southampton centre-halves, were absolutely perfect. James Bree in the right-back position, Brian Manning left-back position. But every Southampton player to a man did their job in and out of possession. You would say that they were all at least 8 out of 10s.
And this is what being a football fan is all about. Look at the scenes around us at St Mary's. The Southampton players in unison, just lined up in front of the northern end, away to our right. They all race towards the goal, wave their hands in the air. They got a big roar of approval. They've had some dark days, these Southampton supporters. We all remember how they stunk the place out in the Premier League last time around, but they're going to remember this for the rest of their lives.
Well, they're playing I Just Can't Get Enough by Depeche Mode. Trust me, the Southampton fans just can't get enough of the FA Cup. 50 years since they won it the only time against Man United Wembley, a massive upset. And Rodriguez, who was the captain, Cookie said he was talking to him half-time, and he said that Manchester United underestimated Southampton then. Arsenal didn't underestimate Southampton here tonight. They paid them respect, but Arsenal couldn't get into a rhythm. They couldn't control the game, and that was because of the game plan of Tom Eckhart, where they go 4-4-2 out of possession. But when they win it, they actually spring on you. They actually go and try and score a goal every time they're on the ball. They got 2 here tonight, and you have to say their victory was thoroughly deserved.
They matched the energy of their fans, who are still bouncing up and down. There is not an empty seat in the home end here at St Mary's. Perry, Arsenal beaten in the League Cup final. They followed it up by losing tonight. They're out of the FA Cup. How much psychological damage could this have when it comes to the run-in for the Premier League and the Champions League?
It could. We won't know until Tuesday night against Sporting Lisbon away, which is a massive game. So the quadruple dream is over. It was over against Man City. The treble dream was done and dusted. Now Arsenal are going for the double. They're going for the two big boys, obviously the Champions League and the Premier League. Obviously this was a half and half team here tonight. Looked quite disjointed in possession when they kept giving the ball away. So now this has got to hurt. Obviously they had the disappointment at the Carabao Cup final against Man City. They had this disappointment tonight. It wasn't through lack of effort from the Arsenal players or a bad attitude. It was because they couldn't quite match the intensity of the Southampton players. And say they were in their faces. And what they did, they put Arsenal out of their stride. Arsenal couldn't get a grip of the game. When Victor Gyökeres scored the equaliser, brilliant play from Kai Havertz, going down the left-hand side, Gyökeres on your body. I think even Southampton's fans might have thought, the pendulum is swinging, the momentum's in Southampton's favour. It didn't. Southampton stayed solid. They had the belief, and they had the belief that someone would create a bit of magic. That came from Fellows, and he was outstanding all night on that right-hand side.
Well, those Southampton players have just completed a lap of honour. They have taken the plaudits of St Mary's. The noise level here is still through the roof because these fans and this club have booked a date at Wembley in the semi-finals, and they've done it by beating the league leaders Arsenal. It's time now to pick our man of the match with McDonald's.
Man of the match on Talksport with McDonald's. Got big McDonald's hunger? The Big Arch is here to stay. Available from 11 a.m, subject to availability. Price and participation may vary.
Perry Graves, who are you going for, sir?
Well, it's obviously going to be a Southampton player. I thought there was a mention about Tom Fellows on that right-hand side. I thought was absolutely outstanding. Yanda and Bragg in the middle of midfield were very, very good. But he's had his injury problems. I'm going to give it to the lot less Drogba, Ross Stewart up front, because I thought throughout the whole game he gave Mosquera and Gabriel like a really difficult time. Obviously he had to come off. He got to manage his minutes. His finish was outstanding. Took it down with his chest, smashed it on the volley of his right foot. So when you're playing a lone striker, you need your lone striker to engage the centre halves and give them problems. Not only to give him problems when the ball's coming into him and aerially, he gave them problems in the channels as well. Shea Charles mentioned in dispatches because say the effect he had on the game when he came on, scored the winning goal, but I'm going to give it to Ross Stewart.
There we go, Ross Stewart then. That was our man of the match. All thanks to McDonald's.